Hello everybody and good evening. I can't believe I've actually made it on time. Hi Danny, great to see you. I hope you're feeling all right. I just noticed that you were homesick from work, so I hope it's nothing too horrid. Hi Lisa, even though you're charging your mouth. Lisa, I'm presuming that was a typo. Do you mean you're charging your mobile, maybe? I think charging your mouth sounds better, so I'll leave it at that. So I'll just chat it away for a few minutes. Obviously, we're going to be waiting for Denny to come in, hopefully, because she was going to cover this side of the Enfield Poltergeist case. Now, she's not let me know otherwise, so I'm presuming that she will be coming in shortly, because I always do 10 minutes of a general chit chat at the start of my lives, so she will be aware it's not starting bob on at 7. But if anything's come up that Denny can't do this investigation side, I've got some of my notes as well. Probably not going to be as well presented as Denny would have done it, but it's a backup. So, but hopefully the little tinker will be here shortly. So, and how are we all? Hoping everybody's okay. As I said, I noticed that Danny is off work poorly today, so let's all hope that she's going to be feeling better much soon. Got COVID booster. Oh, and it's kicking. Oh, Danny, you know, the number of people that I've heard who have had the booster for COVID and they've fallen sick after it. And usually, I don't know what they do over there, but over here, in quite a few places, they're giving the booster is the opposite to what you received for your vaccinations last year. So if you've, say, had the AstraZeneca injections, they're giving you a Pfizer booster and vice versa. And that seems to be having quite an adverse effect on people. Hi, Linda. How are you, my darling? Lovely to see you. I'm just going to kick around a bit until my my co-panelist appears. How's everything on the Wirral? And just, I'm not sure if you were in, Linda, but Danny's from America. She has her own channel as well and covers true crime. I forget who's been in and who hasn't. I feel like I'm introducing everybody at a party. It's like, oh, what was that play? Is it called, was it Abigail or Annabelle's Party or Abigail's Party? I can't remember. But yeah, I feel a bit like that. So just while we're waiting for Tiz to join us and a few other people, last night, just before I went off, we were having a bit of a chat about different topics to cover and what people would prefer. And I know I ask, you know, I do ask people. She's there. Hang on a sec. I'll drop the link for you, Tiz. So we were going over things to cover, and the general consensus appears to be, let's do history, let's do mystery, let's do aliens, let's do ghosts. So I think what I'm going to do is probably mix it up, you know, maybe depending how many lives a week I do, because sometimes I'll do one and then I might do 4. So I'll keep the topics varied. Now, last night we were talking about. Oh, hi Frida. Oh, I hope your daughter's okay. Give her our love, will you please? And I hope she's recovering well from her surgery. But lovely to see you. I'm just filling people in on what we were talking about late last night, Frida. So I'd mentioned about history and some of the topics I'd like to cover, and then also some mysteries. And I'm going to manage to combine two in one live because I want to cover Boudica. Oh, hang on. Here's the old tizzers. I've just added to the stream.
Hello.
All right, the arch.
Hello. How are we?
I'm all right. How's the little man doing?
He's all right, bless him. He's still resting up on the couch. We had a call from the fracture clinic yesterday. I think I said online possibly, but if this doesn't sound too weird, he tumbled in just about the best way he could have.
Yeah.
So the bone, it's not come like with the collarbone, it could have been sticking up or something like that, but it's not. It's perfectly where it should be, and he should be up and about again 3 weeks tops.
Oh, brilliant.
Yes, it's really good news, bless him.
Yeah.
And he hasn't wanted any pain relief today. He's just point blank refused. So I thought, well, fair enough. I mean, obviously I'll give him a bit before bed, but no, he's all right. And we've sanded all the stairs. They're done and done.
Have you booked your or have you purchased your stair art yet? Have you decided on one?
No, I've got the carpets. I've got to wait till Friday to get the stair art.
Just for chat, Danny was looking at stair art, and she was sending me some photographs of the and it's some of it's amazing. You can get your stairs to look
I didn't even know that stuff like that existed. I was like, "Rah."
No, it's really good. I like that, and I like the wall art you can get. There is one I'd love in my bedroom, and it looks as though, you remember the one that you sent to me, and it looked like the brickwork had been opened and you were looking out through a hole in the wall.
Yeah, that was the Hogwarts one.
Yeah, well, the one that I like, it's a Viking longship. So it looks like a big hole's been blasted in your wall, and you're looking out to the sea with a Viking longship coming straight at you. And I thought, yeah, that's the one for me.
Are you getting it?
I don't know. It depends. Yeah, I'll tell you about that in private. It just depends on.
Yeah, I mean, where are you going to fit it in amongst all the mirrors?
Yeah, and the swing as well. Don't forget that.
Exactly. So, are you all right, Kiss? Is everything all right with you?
Yeah, I'm absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was a bit quiet on Sunday, but it was quite funny because I kept getting text messages from himself saying, "Are you still alive?" And then, "Are you dead yet?" And so that was making me laugh. But yeah, just while we're waiting, just as you came up, I was talking about something I want to cover. I mean, I don't know if this is your bag or not, but as we were talking about history and the paranormal and mysteries and things like that, obviously I veer away from the true crime side of things, but I said last night that I really wanted to talk about Boudica because she's just like my hero. And
I don't know anything about, other than knowing the name, that's as far as my knowledge on that one goes. So yeah, I'd be interested to learn about that.
Yeah, well, also, have you heard about the Ninth Legion that vanished? It was the Roman Legion. They were called the Ninth, and they disappeared. There's been a couple of films made about them.
That wasn't the Eagle one, was it?
Yes, yeah, the Eagle, and then the other film was called Centurion that had Michael Fassbender in it. So there are all these. You've got your mates in, Captain Spaulding. Hello, love. Welcome back.
Oh, sorry. Hi to everybody in chat. Let me just flick on the chat. Hi to everyone in chat. I'm glad to see Danny here. Hello, Captain. Linda, some fucking Russian bot. Lisa, see Danny, Frida.
I just realised I'd lost the chat that Captain Spaulding came into, and I couldn't make him a mod. So I'm really sorry that you're probably the only person without a wrench at the moment, Captain. But I will rectify that after this live. But yeah, what I was saying about, so there's the Ninth Legion and the mystery of the Ninth Legion. Well, that ties in really well with the story of Boudica, because oh, hi Kathy, hello my darling.
Hi Kathy.
When Boudica decided to sack the city of Colchester, which was called Camalodunum or Camalodunum,
was it Camalodunum?
Camalodunum. The Ninth Legion was sent in there to try and save the Roman citizens. So not only is it called you know, the attack of, or the raise into the ground of Camulodunum, that particular attack is also called the slaughter of the Ninth Legion. And it wasn't long after that, and the fact that they defeated Boudica, that then the Ninth Legion vanished from all the historical records. There were some survivors, and they joined Suetonius's legions. However, they then vanished. So I thought, you know what? I'll cover Boudica, which is the historical side, and then have a discussion about this disappearance of the Ninth Legion. So that's what I'm saying.
Cool.
Yeah. So, oh, hi, Cassius. Hello.
Hi, Cassius. Do you know, I found some, this made me think of you, that's why I've left them out. I found some, where we've obviously moved, I found loads of my notes from studying. I've got fucking reams of them, right? But this is probably why I left the course in the end. This probably makes more sense to you than it does me. And this was like from 3 years back. And it still doesn't really make that much sense to you. Anyway, this was my essay title, right? Consider the intention and impact of the creation of royal iconography and national mythologizing in galvanizing support for Charles III, King of a reunited France.
Wow.
Does that make sense to you? Using or creating beliefs and ideologies in the cause of state formation, a cultural activity. Themes interrelate with the production and consumption of art. Fucking random, eh? Anyway.
So, well, Charles III, who was... No, hang on a minute. Because one of them
was European history, obviously,
yeah,
but yeah.
Was Charlemagne Charles I, or was he the third? He was one of them, wasn't he? Charles the Great.
Well, I've got written up above there is Joan of Arc. So Charles III in France was saved by Joan of Arc. She awakened a sense of national identity. Hi, Simples.
Hi, Simples. Yeah, because, well, that was in the 14... I can't remember the date.
I've got everything except the bleeding date written down. Yeah, I can tell you. That's good. My notes are good, aren't they?
That was, that was quite... it was horrible what happened to her, because the French betrayed Joan of Arc and handed her over to the English, who burned her as a witch.
Did they?
Yeah.
Wow.
She saved France, and she got them back to Paris. She got the Dauphin into position to be crowned, and then, yeah, as always happens, politics got in the way, and they handed her over to the English. And she was burnt for a witch. I know, terrible. She's only a young girl as well. I don't even think she hit 20.
Fuck.
I told you, I'm such a nerd with history. Sorry, guys.
No, I love it, because you're sort of finishing. I've got half-written notes. We still just don't know the date, do we? I honestly haven't even got the date here. That's terrible, isn't it? Well, I got tested. I'd have been like,
well, it won't be Charlemagne then, because Charlemagne was back. That was about 7th or 8th, no, maybe 8th or 9th century. So, yeah.
So I've got notes about Burgundy and the dual monarchy. Charles as Dauphin, is that right?
Yeah,
then King.
Yeah, the
Dauphin, is that something? Dauphin.
Yeah. Oh, we might have to do that sometime then. Go through your notes and I'll chip in.
I've got tons of notes. Yeah, I mean, like I say, I'm reading them. I have no understanding. Like, that's probably why I gave up. Like, this is just too much.
They don't make it easy though, do they? When you're trying to do degrees in here, I mean, I know you were more towards the art side of things, but it's like with history. My A-level tutor was the most boring cow I could have. Oh, you know, and I cringe thinking about that woman. It was like she died inside, and she would.
God, I remember teachers like that.
Yeah, it was just monotone. Now, bear in mind, we're all taking A-levels, wanting to go on to university. And she just would she had the most boring voice and would just read out of a book. Whereas my teacher, when I was at secondary school, she was so animated. She loved history. She got you all. She very rarely used a book. She would be around the class. And yeah, it was the difference. So yeah, and giving you titles like that, which again, they make you die inside as a student, don't they?
Yeah, well, mate, I totally agree with you there. My who popped into my head, my sociology teacher at A level, fuck, he was boring. But then he did enjoy the topic. He just was the most boring. I call them like cardboard cutouts because you could just pick them up and move them and place them, and they just do the same thing.
Yeah.
Oh, look, Lisa knows. Look, she's put that. Well done. Yeah, the War of the Roses, because I did do that in that section as well. That's somewhere in the boxes.
Well, actually, if you dig that out, because Lisa and I were both quite obsessed with the War of the Roses period, and yeah, we were talking about this last night, and she wants us to do a live on the War of the Roses and talking about the Plantagenets. So that was it. So if you've got a load of notes on that, I think we should, because Lisa was saying she'd like to come up as well and do the War of the Roses. So if we can get the three of us up,
that'd be great. I'll dig my notes out. They're around. I know where they are. I'll put some in the loft and whatnot. So yeah, defo. No, you obviously just give me the heads up.
Yeah, that would be great. But yeah, and it's not just confined to us three. Anybody at all is welcome.
Exactly. Jump up, break or pop your cherry, and don't be worried about it. Once you've done it, you sort of realise there's just nothing to be worried about, really.
Well, we had Frida. Did you miss Frida coming up?
I did miss Frida coming up. Who else? I think I missed Simples coming up.
Simples popped a cherry.
I've missed so many people. I'm so sorry.
Lisa popped a cherry. Green Eyes popped a cherry on here, but Green Eyes had been on bedtimes prior to mine.
I was here when Green Eyes popped up, so I was there for that.
Oh, Simple's just saying that I didn't take history because we had shite history teachers, and all we did was copy from boots. That's why I took all sciences.
Yeah.
So, and it's the same.
But actually, I did my degree. I did that with the Open Uni, so I sort of sat at home and I didn't have to worry about a teacher. You had an assigned tutor who you could contact, but it was all just sort of self-motivation from home. So I didn't. But then again, it sort of made me think. I think I bloody prefer a teacher at times. It's hard doing it, finding the motivation.
Oh, sorry, mate. Hello, Marie. I always got to say from South Africa, like I'm over there. God.
Hi, Marie.
Yes. No problem if you fall asleep. If we aid in the sleep process, that is a bonus.
Indeed. If we can lull you into a lovely, deep, peaceful rest, and that's all good. It's good to see you.
With the odd swear word thrown in. And when you just done about the Open University, were you here when I was talking about the archaeological find that occurred on one of my projects? And I was mentioning.
No.
Yeah, I'll not go back into it and bore everybody, but there was the county archaeologist basically called it the find of his career, of his lifetime. He was so excited. And when I was mentioning him, Porkchop said, I'm sure he was my tutor because he did an Open University for history. And
right.
I went, get lost. And it turns out it was the same guy because he was.
No way.
Yeah, we have a lot of these things.
You never know who's there at the end of the thing as a tutor, because it's people that are obviously professors and stuff, and they do it in their spare time. So wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, we keep doing this. He'll say something, and we've got all these things in common. Sorry, this isn't turning into the Jackson Porky show. It's just one of those things that I was like, oh my goodness, because he did OU as well. So, Enfield Poltergeist. Want to do this
okay,
one?
well, I've got some. Have you? What? How are we going to do this? Do you just? I haven't done a load because you've done so much on it. I've got a few bits to read out and chat about. Then I've obviously got a few bits to read. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just saying. Okay, you crack on.
Right, yeah. And yeah, I was going to read some from the Strange Deaths book, but I've marked off a few funny stories in there. I've got a funny book which I shall turn the camera on. I'm not going to show myself, but it's a really funny book, and we'll just have a flick through that because it's pretty cool. And not that I'm obviously hogging the show, but if there's time left, I've also got the Murder in Amityville book by Hans Holzer, if anyone wanted to hear a little bit from that. Oh yeah. Hold on, little man's just coming in to say goodnight. So we'll say goodnight to little man with the poorly shoulder. Night.
Night, sweetheart.
Night. He's pretended to be asleep. Are you asleep? Oh, Allah. Night. Night, Papa.
Oh.
Night. He's being carried up like a little baby.
Oh. Well, I was going to say, well, what I can do is, because obviously we were just going to look at the investigative side. I didn't go did you listen to the live that I did last week?
I've caught up on most of it, but there's probably a chunk I haven't.
Right. So, well, I mean, I think it was probably the first hour and a half was just Enfield. So I purposefully, because we said we would split it kind of.
No, I've still got a ton on the Enfield here. Yeah, I've still got my
Well, I didn't cover any of the investigations on it. I literally just went through the story, what had happened, who was involved, from beginning to end, and I purposefully didn't cover any of the investigations and how they were trying to prove and disprove certain things. So I don't know if you want, and I've got a load of notes here as well, so I don't know if you want to, if you feel comfortable.
Cool. Hold on, let's have a little look.
Because I'm happy to kind of sit and let you go off and chip in if you need me or however.
Okay, I've gone through and found some bits. So these are just people's accounts of what had gone on, and it sort of fits in regards to what different people thought, how different people reacted, even perhaps when they witnessed it. Did they come away believers? Do you know what I mean? Because we actually find out later on that Janet, the young girl, she did actually, well, I think both the girls admitted that they were doing a few things deliberately.
Yes.
Just to jazz it up a bit. So I think she'd scribbled on a wall. There were a couple of bits they'd done that they'd done themselves just because they'd got so caught along with all the attention, I guess. That kind of discredits them naturally. Just shut the door, because obviously once they've lied about that, everyone's going to look and think, well, what else have they lied about? Anyway, so the mother, her account: on the night of the 31st of August, 1977, Penny Hodgson entered her children's bedroom to find the dressing table moved across the room. In a recorded interview, she recalls what happened. I just couldn't believe it. In fact, I pushed it back twice. The third time, I couldn't move it. The uncanny event was accompanied by repeated knocking noises, so Hodgson sent for her neighbour. So this is when the first witness comes around. The lady's name was Vic Nottingham.
Yeah.
She was in no better place to explain what he witnessed. So I heard the knocking as I walked in the front door. I went all over the house. I just couldn't make out what it was in the end. So I thought, there's only one thing. I'll call the police. So the police come along. It was WPC Carolyn Heaps was first on the scene and described seeing a chair sliding across the room. It came off the floor maybe half an inch, I should say, and I saw it slide to the right about 3.5 to 4 feet before it came to rest. With the police at a loss for what to do, the Daily Mirror was called. It's funny, isn't it, when people don't know what to do? They're like, just phone someone bigger.
Well, that was like last night, wasn't it? You know, when I was talking about Stocksbridge bypass, those two security guards, they're terrified by the apparition. So what do? Go to the local gather station and sit there just getting the piss taken out of them. Going, right,
it's a better place.
Go and find a police.
Oh, sorry, I was just having a quick stop for a cigarette break. How's your non-smoking going, Enid?
It's going absolutely fine. I'm on week 4 now, coming in. So yeah, we're doing okay. Well, while you're having your cigarette break, I'll just do a little bit of background on some of the people that got involved, shall I? And then you can
go for it.
You finished your fag. So obviously we're just doing a roundup, everybody who was listening last week. So as Jenny's going through it, things that have happened. So the main people who were called in from the psychic investigators were Maurice Gross, and he was already a successful inventor. And I think I mentioned on the live last week that, you know, those electronic display and advertisement boards that used to be in the streets, like at bus stops or at petrol stations, and they'd roll round to the next advert and the next. He invented that. Yeah, he was also a commercial artist. So, and he joined the Society for Psychical Research, and And this was his very first case. And as you rightly mentioned the other week, he'd lost his daughter, who was also called Janet, in very tragic circumstances. She'd been killed in a road traffic accident. So he joined here. Then after that, there was another investigator who joined Morris, and his name was Guy Leon Playfair. And he was already a published author. He was had previously been a journalist. And then there were also the reporters from the Daily Mirror and one of the photographers whose name was Graham Morris, who is the gentleman responsible for all the photographs that you see of the girls flying through the air and things like that. Now, one thing to just note is that the book that Guy Leon Playfair wrote about the Enfield hauntings he didn't name, the only person he named and gave them the proper name was Janet. He changed the names of the rest of the family for his book, and the book that he wrote was called This House is Haunted. So he actually changed the names of everybody barring Janet. Now, what was I going to say? There was something else I just remembered I was going to say, and it's gone out of my head. Sorry about that, guys.
That's all right. Shall I you just following on from what Kissa said there. So Maurice Grosse, he was an inventor yet electrical and mechanical devices. In 1962, he set up a consultancy called Maurice Grosse Display Limited. His inventions sold all over the world, including complex vending machines and one of the first fully automatic newspaper dispensers.
Yeah.
He was a member of the Royal Institution and the Institute of Patentees and Inventors, a highly gifted artist. Wow, I didn't even know half of that. Hello?
Yeah, yeah. Just he said he was an artist, and I was like, oh, wow. So from what I can gather, Peggy, as you were saying, she was considered to be a very pleasant, conscientious person. So despite what people were saying about her, and yeah, even if the kids had done a little bit of, little bit of stuff that was slightly naughty, she wasn't. Everybody, even the skeptics, had said out of everybody, she was probably the most believable of them all, because she never wavered from a story ever. And she didn't try to elaborate. She never added things in, and she just looked like a genuine, she came across as a very genuine person who was just...
and they were kids. They were young. So what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Kids are kids, aren't they?
Absolutely. Now, let me have a little look. So do you want to carry on there, or do you want me to?
Yeah. So, Maurice Grosse, we know, was absolutely 100% convinced. He experienced it himself. He never deviated from believing it. He actually, he was so in the belief that back then he offered £500, which obviously that's a lot of money for back then. Even today, you wouldn't quibble at winning that. That later increased to 1,000 to the family of any normal 11-year-old girl who could duplicate it. And I assume nobody did.
No. Oh, I've remembered. Sorry, I'm going completely off track. But just as a little aside, and I didn't know that. Well, I did know it when I was doing the research last week, but I didn't put it in my live. When I was talking about Guy Playfair, who wrote the book, and he changed the names in it. What people may not realise is that Steven Spielberg's movie, The Poltergeist, that was originally based, and his screenwriter, Dan Aykroyd, he admitted this. It was based on an unnamed poltergeist case happening to an unnamed family in an unnamed city in the UK.
Oh, I see.
Everybody is that it was actually the Hodgsons and the Enfield Poltergeist case. So that was just a little bit of trivia that I was quite surprised to find out.
Very cool. Do you remember that other horror? It's not it's just called Entity. Is it called The Entity?
That was awful. Yeah, about the incubus.
Oh, that's one of the scariest fucking films. Sorry to swear, but it's just. And that was a lady, wasn't it? That was an actual documented case as well.
Yeah, and she. Yeah, I think that continued to attack her, although the attacks became less frequent. she had to live with those for the rest of her life, by all accounts. So they
God,
never
that
ever got rid of
film.
that.
I'd never even watched that film again. I probably watched it too young anyway, but it's really, really so frightening. Really frightening.
Yeah, it is. But it just shows we don't know what's out there.
No, I said you've got to be careful, Pete. I mean, no one here's sleep, but that's why you've got to protect yourself. And like doing Ouija boards and stuff like that, you're sort of basically just inviting something terrible into your house, into your life.
You have just reminded me. Was it you or was it somebody in chat? Please shout up if it was you, because I can't remember if it was yourself or Simples. Somebody raised last week and said, was it true that Janet and Margaret had been playing with Ouija boards? And I said, no, I've not heard that.
No, that wasn't me, no.
Yeah, someone had mentioned it, and then they said, no, maybe I'm mistaken. I hadn't heard that. When I was polishing up on, just refreshing my memory about today, I have found some information where later on in life, when Janet was an adult, she did admit that at one time she had played with Ouija boards prior to these the poltergeist activity happening at the house. I didn't realise, but yeah, she has admitted that she did dabble with a Ouija board.
There you go. And I like that series, A Haunting. So like hour-long episodes, and obviously they're a bit embellished and bit glamorized for the screen. But I tell you, 9 times out of 10, it's someone pissing around with a Ouija board. Then they don't shut it down properly.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh God, I'm haunted. Why is this? Why is this happening to me?" Yeah.
It's just, can I just reply to Marie? I haven't, Marie. I've not had anything, honey. I don't know if you want to send it again, because I've been having a few problems with that email account. Sorry, I just noticed that, and before she falls asleep, I didn't want to think I was ignoring her. Yeah, and I'll tell you what else as well. I found a list of all the activities all the paranormal activities that were going on. And this is there's a psychic investigators website that I went into, and they're looking at this historical case, and some of the things that I just didn't realize had happened. I mean, did you know that there had been there was like excrement smeared on things and appearing in weird places? That was something
in this case at the Enfield, yeah?
Yeah.
No way. No, I never read that.
No, I didn't know that either. And there were also messages written, but it was that about excrement appearing in inappropriate places. So now with that one, I'm thinking, could that have been when the kids were doing little bits and pieces?
That's what would more strike me. That would have, if anything, that would have been them, because I don't think I've ever heard of shit manifesting. Just out of nowhere.
And I suppose some people will also know, especially if you've worked in that field. I know from a friend of mine who is a social worker, and she said sometimes, when children are really troubled, they've had issues where, there'll be like a kid will like smear shit on the dining table, or put it in somebody's bedroom drawer, or put shit in a sibling's bed. So when I saw that, I thought, yeah, that to me, I would say that's possibly something that one of the children may have done.
Yeah, and again, possibly some scribbling, and like you say, the writing on the wall, possibly could have been them as well. But out of everything else that had gone on, you've got to expect they would have been pretty traumatized as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But
very frightening.
You said, the fact that they then did some things themselves, it's taken away from the it was scary enough as it was happening without them having to do little bits and pieces, and because they did that, the credibility was
diminished.
Was really damaged, and it was
let's face it. I mean, everyone's always looking to discredit. Well, not everyone per se, but there's always someone that's looking to discredit somebody else or take away the story. Simples, you just read my mind. That is exactly what I was thinking of when Kiss was just saying about smearing. That is what he used to do to John Bonet stuff, didn't he? He put all this shit all over her presents at Christmas, and
he put it in a box of chocolates, didn't he, or something? Was it a box of candy or chocolates? And he put a dollop of his shit in it, and he'd put shit in her bed. Yeah, so then again, that's another life for another time.
That's another story altogether. That one. So, what? Do you want me to carry on for a minute, or are you gonna?
No, I'm happy if you want to, and then I can pop in as well, because I've got tons of stuff here that I didn't cover the other day. So I think if you hit on something, if I jump in and just add little bits, if there's
Okay.
anything.
So, just following on from what you said. So, yeah, Maurice lost his youngest daughter, Janet, killed in a motorcycle accident, exactly as what was depicted in the TV series, if anybody's seen it.
Yeah.
And in the following days, he did indeed encounter an unusual number of weird things going on that made him believe she was still around. So he was getting signs. That's what sort of prompted him to get onto the psychical research.
Yeah.
But he was also a chairman of the SPR's Spontaneous Cases Committee from 1981. He held that post for 2.5 decades. So that Enfield wasn't the only paranormal incident he investigated.
No. And can I just interject slightly? It's not about Morris, but that date that you've just said there, 1981. The eldest of the two Hodgson sons, he died in 1981.
Did he?
Yeah, I didn't know that either. I've not found a cause of death.
You're banging out facts. Literally, you're wiping the floor with me with your facts. I just don't know what to do, kids.
Just keep talking.
Just keep talking. Just cover it.
Yeah, but it was just a little aside. I thought, oh my goodness. So he died.
Wow.
He would have been quite young, because he was the one who was in residential, like, he was the older of the two boys who was in residential.
Yeah, so yeah, he had like he couldn't verbally communicate very well, could he, bless him?
No, it was the other one, because I didn't realise there were 4 until I started doing the research. There were 2 girls and 2 boys. It was the youngest boy who had the speech issue. It was the older boy who was away at, now they said he was away at school. Now, I'm sorry, but let me see, the lifestyle that the Hodgsons led, she could not have afforded a private education for any of her children, which I think, reading between the lines, to me, it sounds like he was in residential care. Because I think after this had been occurring, at one point, all the children were taken into social care for a short period of time. So
I guess, yeah, just to assess them, that would have probably been done.
Yeah.
Just a standard procedure, I guess.
Yeah. But yeah, things I didn't know, and I've only found this out through going through websites upon documents. So yeah. Anyway, sorry, I shall shut up and hand back over to you.
No, you don't have to shut up. That's absolutely fine. You're fine. I'm just right. So there was, now this is just a bit off from Maurice Gross. Oh no, it's not. Sorry. So yeah, Maurice, when he was he was the leading examiner in the case, and he said himself in the house he's seen marbles being thrown around, the door moving without any help, and the reduction of temperature. In early November 1977, Gross confronted the presence in the living room, and he said, as I asked the question, "Are you having a game with me?" it threw the cardboard box and the pillow right in my face.
Yes, yeah. Well, you hear that on the recording, don't you, where it smacks him in the face?
And he reacts, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's like, that hit me right in my face. Obviously not in a really shitty London accent.
And Richard Gross, so he's the son of Maurice, and he was a newly qualified solicitor. He helped his dad interrogate the Enfield Poltergeist, so he was there as well.
Yes.
And he is the only member of the Law Society to have cross-examined a ghost.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. No, I didn't know that.
Is probably the only member. Sorry, that's not a hard and fast fact. But yeah, he was cross-examined a ghost. Mad, huh?
God, I mean, I knew he'd been involved. I knew he was a solicitor, and because he's the one who asks. Everybody thinks it's Guy Playfair who asks the voice of Bill, "What did you die of? Do you remember what happened?" And it's not. That's actually Maurice Gross's son who's asking.
That's his son, yeah. So he said every breakfast time my father would play a tape or two, and it would start off with noises, banging, and then it moved on to banging in response to the questioning.
Wow. Well,
every morning.
with something else regarding the voices as well, because obviously we'll get onto that and how they were trying to prove if they were real or not. But Cassis is just saying he's home at last. Good, put your feet up and listen to some spooky stuff. Just to add on, since the Enfield case, there have been more reports of similar phenomena. Oh, I've done it again with my phone. I'm so sorry. What an idiot. It's not me unless my phone's going off, is it? Yeah, there have been some more recent reports of similar things with a voice coming. Now, one of them was in, let me have a think now, it was 2012. This woman was called, I think Julia was a pseudonym, I'm not sure. This was in America, and she'd enter trances and start, swearing, all these obscenities.
Oh right, yeah, that was depicted, was it? That was some harsh scenes, wasn't it, in the actual series of that lady? Do you remember?
Yeah, and this was, there were awful things coming out of her, and these voices were not her own. But then, if you remember, in Indiana, in America, the Ammons case, where there was possession, that young kid, I think the police and social workers had actually seen this child climbing backwards up a wall. Well,
oh my God, that would I swear to God, I would run to the nearest church and climb into where they got the holy water, man, and I would just bathe in it.
yeah. Well, that's the one that Zach Baggins bought the house of. The demon house, he called it. That was the Ammons
the demon house. Yeah, he ripped it down, didn't he?
He did, because he ripped it down and sealed it, thinking it was a portal to hell. Well, in that those kids of Latoya Ammons, they were also speaking in these unnaturally deep voices. So
really?
Yeah, so there's two different cases, but they're both in America, though they're not over here. And I think, as far as where there's only the Hodgsons in this country today
that we know of.
Yeah.
Actually, do you know, that's just reminded me, perhaps in the future, one of my other most favourite sort of spooky paranormal, I'd totally forgotten about it, actually, you just jogged my memory, thankfully, is the Bobby Mackey, the music place. Does anyone know about that?
Yes, I do.
Bobby Mackey's World. I've watched so much fucking stuff on. I tell you, it really does frighten me. It really, really does frighten me. But I'm addicted to it, really, in a weird way. But not, I'm not watching it 24/7. Obviously, I'm exaggerating, but yeah, I've watched a fair bit. And the guy Carl, who was like the caretaker. Sorry, what was you gonna say?
No, nothing. I laughed. I was just laughing at you.
Oh, right. So it sounds like, because I can't, it's a tiny bit of a delay, so I could just see it sounds like you sort of gone like that. And I'm like, what? So, but yeah, I downloaded Carl. He was the caretaker. He's dead now, but he was the one that apparently got possessed. We did get possessed because they had to do a freaking exorcism on him in the club. But he had done like an autobiography, which I downloaded, and I swear to God, I was reading it. It must have been about 1 a.m. Everyone was asleep, all the lights off, and I kept, when you've just got the light of your mobile device or whatever, and when your hair started prickling up, and I kept moving it, thinking I'm just going to see that Carl stood there, but obviously I didn't. But yeah, it was pretty frightening.
Oh God, no! It's Oh, Cooper, don't. Do you know, he's doing it again. He's looking at the damn ceiling every time we start talking.
See, I'm just going to say, so everybody listening to this chat is protected with no negative energies are permitted to come through and infect anyone. We're protected and we're just discussing it.
Yeah,
okay? That's a disclaimer to the spirits.
I did do that prior to coming on, coming live. And I know that if Lady Witch is listening, she always offers protection to everybody in chat. But yeah, nobody is welcome to linger around after we've discussed you. So there you go.
Same.
Now, something I found out as well, oh God, he's off, which I don't know if you were aware of, that the SPR, so the Society for Psychical Research, they started the following year. So it wasn't quite before it finished, the haunting or the poltergeist activity. But so I think it was either April or May of 1978. So while it was still ongoing, they then set up a committee to investigate the investigation that was
No
being
way. It's like an ombudsman sort of thing.
yeah, and they interviewed every single witness, went through all the testimony that they could get hold of with a fine-tooth comb, and then they also brought in a guy called trying to think his name, somebody Moses. I can't remember his first name. Somebody Moses, who was of the Southern. So there was a branch of the Society for Psychical Research in Southern California. And because he was an experienced investigator, they brought him in as well to go through the investigation techniques just to make sure everything was being done properly. But I thought that to me,
you can't quibble at that.
no, but I'd have been quite pissed off if I was, Guy Playfair or Maurice Grosse, that we've got an investigation investigating our investigative techniques.
I could definitely put myself in their shoes. You would be like, for fuck's sake, I've literally witnessed all that. But that is life, isn't it? No matter where you go, what you do, there's going to be someone trying to steam pile in and take over or take some clout for it or something like that. But yeah, I'd have been pretty annoyed.
Yeah, because it's like there's a lack of faith in you. But I mean,
no trust, and there was no trust, isn't it? It's them basically saying, well, if we deem that you haven't done this right, we will discredit you. So
yeah, I mean, it kind of blew back a little bit at them, because they did conclude that there was good evidence there for paranormal phenomena, which was, described by who they deemed to be credible witnesses. Now, what they took to give somebody credibility, I don't know. But they did reserve judgment on quite a lot of the incidents that weren't observed happening.
Yeah.
So, like, say the shit we were talking about, say when a blob of shit appeared somewhere, if no one had seen that blob of shit appearing, they discounted that. So, yeah, and they also weren't willing to accept Janet's ghosty voice. They were always skeptical about that.
So was she able to perform that for them? Not perform, you know what I mean? Was she able to conjure that, or had that ceased by the time these people, or was it that they literally just reviewed what they saw of her and said, "Nah, we're not buying it"?
Yeah, that was the option. They just weren't convinced. And the other thing as well, which I mean, I don't know if any of you, if you or anybody listening was aware of this, but I've never heard this on any of the documentaries. Margaret, the sister, was also producing these voices.
Was she? No, I've never heard that.
No, I hadn't.
Before or after, or do you know what I mean?
This was after Janet, and one of the recordings. So Porky and I listened through them on Sunday night when he was here, and you can definitely hear on one of these recordings, Janet. These two voices are having a conversation. These two croaky. There was a remote recorder set up upstairs, and has caught these two awful voices actually having a conversation. Now, you might think, are they both coming out of Janet? Until you hear Janet screaming for Maurice Grosse, and this other demonic voice is talking at the same time as Janet. And it's coming from further away in the room, so you know it's Margaret. But yeah, I wasn't aware of that.
It is possible that the thing jumped. Actually, do you know, I think that might even be covered in the series now I remember back, that it jumps.
I don't know. I can't remember that. And it was only hearing.
Yeah, I'm sure there was a bit and she said he can't live without me, or so she gets a bit confident. I only mention this because it reflects exactly what you've just said. So in the series she says, yeah, I don't think he can leave me, he likes me too much. Then he jumps into her sister.
Oh right, I don't remember that
to sort of be like hold up, love, I call the shots here, thank you very much. Yeah, and it freaks the fuck out of the pair of them. But yeah, different contexts they've done it in the series than what actually happened in real life.
I mean, something else that I was quite shocked at. Oh, you won't believe what the dog's doing. He's on his yes, he's of all the
Cooper,
times.
we don't want to have to get the damp towel out, the damp flannel, mate. Come on.
Yeah, we're not doing an OnlyFans show tonight, Cooper. Just the this is something that I defy anybody to. I mean, it's a shame. I don't know if Bedtime's listening, because I think he'll find this quite fascinating, because he's become really kind of obsessed with with the whole Bill thing. They got a physicist in. Have you read about John Hasted, this
No.
physicist? Right. Well, he found that they strapped Janet into this thing called a Blundell couch, and this is devised to measure any anomalies in weight. And when he strapped her in there, when she was being possessed by, possessed, whatever, by Bill, she would actually get a sudden 5-second weight increase by up to a
Oh
kilogram.
my
So,
gosh.
yeah,
Wow.
2 pounds of weight, and then it would just drop back down to normal again. So there were things like that. So when she was being possessed, her weight was increasing by
That's
anywhere up to
crazy.
a kilo. I know. So,
Jeez.
can anybody with a scientific mind explain that? Because the girl isn't ingesting anything at the time. She's just sitting in the same position as she was prior to the voice beginning, but then starts to gain weight. And as the voice goes, the weight drops away as
Yeah.
well.
And you're saying that I'm sure as eggs are eggs, that they've done a particular thing before where people have passed away. They've actually been on a weight thing. So they've been weighed as they've passed, and there's been like a difference. There is a marked difference. Well, it's not like 2 stone, but like you say, there is a difference from when the soul leaves the body to when it was in.
How weird is, and I wonder
I
if,
know.
I'd be interested. This is where I'm going jumping in all different directions. I wonder if, say say somebody dies and the weighing them, and the soul leaves or whatever, they die and they become lighter. What would happen if they managed to revive that person and bring them back to life? I wonder if anyone's done that, where the soul's left and then returned. Does the weight drop and then increase again? I wonder.
Yeah, I don't know if that has been covered.
I'd
Yeah,
love to
whether
find.
they just do it when it's sort of end of life care. Do you know what I mean? And it's just done in that. Yeah, I can't imagine another scenario unless it's tested out there. I don't know. I haven't Googled it. I haven't looked it up, but that would be interesting. But yeah, eternal flame. But there, look, she's just backing that up.
Not sure if you're
So
aware.
our energy, is of substance, but obviously you can't destroy energy anyway, can you? It
No,
just carries on.
I don't know. Sorry, I shall stop. I shall leave you to carry on, my darling.
That's okay. Well, I'm going to go over a little bit about what people thought. Was it really a poltergeist? So there were the bystanders of the family who did say they invented it all, but they believed they were using basic conjuring tricks. So, like, conjuring is in and of itself supernatural, isn't it? How fucking thick is that? Sorry, but no, it's not a ghost. They're conjuring, which is, to me, it's two in the same thing.
Well, actually, do you know that just on the back of that they actually got magicians to come in to try and find out if these magicians could work, because obviously magicians are
Oh,
the trickery. They got magicians to come in to try and work out, are there any sleight of hand tricks being carried out by these children?
and they couldn't prove it, could they? Because things were literally materialised. I mean, in thin air, like right in front of your face. There was no hands involved, was there?
Yeah, no.
But I mean, obviously, so Mrs. Hodgson, she actually died in the house in 2003. So that's got to make you wonder. I mean, that would be quite a cool investigation to go back into the house today, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and I think the people who were in there because somebody went in, didn't a family of 4 go in straight after she died, and they only stayed in the house for 2 months.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
stayed for 2 months, and then the family that went in after them, the woman didn't ever want to talk about it because she didn't want her children knowing about what was in
Right.
that house. But yeah,
Yeah.
the immediate tenants after Peggy Hodgson died, they lasted 2 months and left.
Well, that's odd, isn't it? That's very odd. But there's no reports of them saying that they experienced anything, or
they actually said, I mean, it was a woman called Claire Bennett, and she said she didn't see anything but felt very uncomfortable, and that she was absolutely convinced there was a presence in the house and felt like she was being watched all the time, and that her sons would wake up saying they could hear voices downstairs. But she didn't know.
Really?
Yeah. When they took that house from the council, they didn't know the history of it, because not everybody knew about it, did they? No,
if enough time has passed, you think that was from the 80s, flash forward to 2003, that's enough time. Even the kids at school who knew have grown up and moved on.
Well, actually, it was early, wasn't it? It was the late 70s, so it stopped being talked.
Yeah. So it's even longer, isn't it? So there's no good reason anyone would have known apart from someone directly telling them.
But that's it. Once she found out, then she just said everything's making sense now, and she just asked the council for a move, and they moved to somewhere else.
Yeah, and that's another thing people were saying, that she was trying to get a better council house. It's ludicrous, isn't it? You just think, really? I mean, all right, maybe someone would try something like that, but I don't see. She didn't want to move. I mean, like I say, she died there in 2003, so obviously she liked the house very much. Probably all the more so when Bill fucked off, but...
Yeah, and I think it was Guy Playfair. He offered to contact the council when these accusations were being made back in 1977 and said, we'll contact the council on your behalf and we'll get you moved. And she point blank refused. She didn't want to leave the house.
Exactly, yeah.
So that kind of debunked that, because, I wouldn't care what anybody thought of me. I'd be thinking, yeah, great, I've got another house, better area, bigger garden. I don't give a shit what you'll think. Thank you very much, cha-ching, them off. But she didn't. She wanted to stay where she was.
Yeah, there you go. I think that's testament in and of itself, definitely. Hold on, I'm just going. So here's just a few other random cases. Well, they're not random, but a few other cases that Maurice Grosse investigated. He investigated a second North London poltergeist type disturbance in the King's Cellars pub in Croydon, South London.
Right.
And the London office of the Rank Xerox company. He joined fellow SPR investigator Mary Rose Barrington investigating the case of a boy who was seemingly the focus of unexplained rappings. And then again, the video footage actually indicated a lot of them were done by himself. But
see, I suppose children are not always going to make the most credible of witnesses, are they? Just because of the element of hijinks, even if you can't prove that that's what's happened, the suspicion's always going to be there, isn't it?
Exactly. And he also Charlton House. So Grosse was at Charlton House, and this is captured on video. This is in South London. So he's being filmed as part of BBC's video diaries. I'm going to look that up. And a china cup seemingly materialised and exploded in front of him. So it sort of makes you, it sounds like Bill again, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, I saw one, I don't know if you found that one, where the woman's husband, it was another case that he was called in to check it out. And she was having, her clothing was being yanked out of the wardrobes and cupboards and thrown all around everywhere. And this was in London as well. This poor woman, and I'd probably say, when I saw her on the telly, probably put her in say late 40s, early 50s. And it had got to such a state, she thought she was having a nervous breakdown. She thought she was having, like a perimenopausal episode. Because it does happen, doesn't it? So some women can experience when they're going through that period in their life that they can have a few psychological issues brought about the hormonal changes. So she was really thinking she was cracking up. And her husband had actually put chains with padlocks on the wardrobes because she was so convinced that it was her doing these things and frightening herself. And Maurice went along to that. And
this rings a bell, actually. The clothes coming out the wardrobe, I can't place it.
Yeah, it was just a little clip that I saw of him, life after Enfield,
Right.
and yeah, and so he was obviously still, and apparently he's done investigations. He was interviewed for a Japanese news a news station. They'd interviewed him. He'd done another investigation somewhere in Europe, and I can't for the life of me remember where it was. But people seem to think that his involvement in psychical research finished with Enfield, and it didn't. He went on, like you said, 20 odd years.
Yeah, and a few other notable cases, none that quite captured or warranted, obviously, what the Enfield did, which again leaves it in its own canon, because it wouldn't be discussable if it wasn't such a random mad case, and a lot of it did happen. A lot of it really did occur.
Yeah. I mean, were you aware about the mediums that they called in as well to help with these investigations?
Yeah.
Because
So they called in mediums. That's it. That's all I know. Go on.
Yeah, well, they got 2 from Brazil.
Did they?
Yeah, 2 Brazilian mediums came. I've got their names written down: Louis Gasparetto and Elsie Dubergra. Now, apparently, they helped with there was a slight improvement in Janet's behaviour. Then they had somebody called Gary Sherrick, who was very flamboyant. He did a very theatrical performance, but again, there was a little bit of calm after it. Then they had somebody called Matthew Manning, and he put himself out as a healer and a psychic. And he was trying to show he reckoned he'd had his own experiences. So his belief was that all of this originated from your own energy fields, which kind of goes along with the thought
Which,
about
again, with the girls being pubescent, that's always it literally always happens when the teenagers are becoming teenagers. It's all the extra energy, isn't it?
Yeah. And then the final one, if you heard the end of the story, when I said how it finally ended was with a Dutch medium who was brought over, and he went up into the bedroom, spent 20 minutes there, and there was never any more activity after that. Now, and this was through a contact of Guy Playfair's, who worked for one of the big Dutch newspapers, who brought this guy over. He was very famous in Holland, and he spoke to Janet, went in the bedroom, spent 20 minutes up there, came down and went, "So hold on, you won't have any more trouble." And there never was. However, this, and his name was Dono Melig Mailing, and he found afterwards, and he let this SPR know, that he had found connections between the incidents and the death of Maurice Gross's daughter. So he'd found a link there as well. Now, I've not been able to find out what the details were, but I'm thinking, was that, when he's saying the links, was it that the spirits were, playing on maybe on Maurice's grief over the loss of his daughter? Because, like you said, he was getting messages, wasn't he? And references.
This is what pushed him to follow the whole cyclical route, So defo he was seeing things beforehand. But what popped into my head, or whether Janet, the spirit of his daughter, it's like coincidence that lead up to getting people together and him being in a position to hear a message or something like that. Don't know.
Yeah, and it's, well, I mean, it's like when you lose anybody, a lot of the time, the first thing that a lot of people will do for answers, or if it's been a very sudden passing, will turn, they will go down the psychic route. They'll go to a medium, or a card reader, or, a gypsy, or what have you. And I think, like you, I think that's what prompted him to join the SPR, because he was already a very successful inventor in his own right.
Yeah.
A respected inventor and a respected commercial artist, but then
well known.
Yeah, he chose to do that. So it's it's very. Oh, sorry about this. I'll mute myself a minute. I'll let you talk because the dog is about to have a shit fit.
Hey, Green Eyes, good to see you, but I'm really sorry to hear you're not feeling very well. You're like Danny, she's not very well today. Rest up and get well soon. I hope have you had your jab, or is it Is it just like, I hope it's not the big air cove, the Rona. But anyway, rest up and drink some hot tea. Every problem solved with hot tea.
I've just noticed that myself. Then I wonder if it's about. I hope it's not your back again because she was struggling with it last night.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with her back pain. Now, did you want to talk about what they did to try and disprove these voices that were coming out of Janet?
Well, they did the water test, didn't they?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she had to hold the water in her mouth, and the voice still produced, didn't it?
It did. And I think prior to that, Maurice Grosse had taped. I mean, God, you wouldn't get away with it these days, would you? But he
No fucking way.
taped her mouth up, and the only thing that was found from that, the voice continued, but it was slightly muffled.
Yeah. I mean,
So,
in basic research, let's face it, a child of her age, and this was proven, could not sustain that voice without ruining their vocal cords for good. You wouldn't come back from doing that voice, even for a joke, and not have fucked your voice up. And you hear Janet today, she's actually, well, so I've got quite a deep voice, but Janet has got really quite a high pitched girly voice, hasn't she?
yeah, and it's a very soft voice as well.
Yeah.
Because they put the microphone on the back of Janet's head when they were making recordings of these voices. Now, you would expect that if you've got a microphone and it's performing some form of ventriloquism, that the loudest that this voice would be heard would be from the front of her face, wouldn't it, coming out of her pie hole? But it wasn't. It was when they placed the microphone at the back of her head that was the loudest that this voice was being heard.
And that's where she said she felt it coming from the back of her neck.
Yeah, and the speech therapist they got in, that speech therapist couldn't say where the sound was coming from or how it was being sustained. Because there was what was it called now? There was a that John Hasted that I was talking about who did the weight thing in the chair. Because he was a physicist. Now he carried out another experiment with a phonetics expert from the University College of London, and they had this thing called a laryngograph, which now that was saying that it was, this is where you're talking about these false vocal cords. It was plica ventricularis. Was that right? Ventricularis. And that was,
sounds about right. We'll go with what you said.
that was basically showing that there was muscle tension in the throat that can produce different sounds from the vocal cords, but the side effects of doing that would mean that for about you'd be experiencing probably 6 to 8 weeks of a sore throat and severe hoarseness, if not complete loss of voice. And Janet never
and she was doing it 2 or 3 hours at a time, wasn't she? Hours.
Yeah, she was. There was that Ray Allen, the ventriloquist. He came in to investigate as well. He reckoned that she was producing the sounds from a diaphragm, but then Maurice Grosse and Guy Playfair, they debunked that. And here, the little bit that you were on about, I've just found my notes. Grosse was so convinced of the paranormal origin of the effect, he offered 500, which later became £1,000, to a nominated charity if any child could replicate the voice under the terms that he specified. Yeah, so there you go. And he was further encouraged in his conviction because the voice had an unknown source when reading about similar historical cases from people suffering from possession.
They tested the voice, didn't they? Didn't they ask who had won a particular football match? So they tested stuff that Janet wouldn't even have been alive to have seen.
Yes, and it turned into a little bit of banter, wasn't it?
About the football and that, wasn't it?
Yeah, between the blokes, a little bit of male ribbing. Oh, sorry, I've just seen Nuff. Hiya, Jen. I was checking in chat who was here, like you do when you walk into a pub, just peeking in. Oh, lovely to see you, Jen. We're just
I hope you're well enough.
Oh, I've not been getting notifications, Nuff. I did happen to see yours before because I'm having to go into particular channels now just to see, because I don't know what the hell is going on. but I'm not getting notifications. I'm getting them for very obscure channels that have got like 1 follower.
Yeah, I know it's strange, isn't it? What gets suggested to you, but I'm finding. So, I mean, you do the good thing, Kiss, because you pop yours up so you can click the reminder. Then you get the notification as soon as you click to go live. It notifies, but I find otherwise you get the notification when people have finished going live. Then it kind of uploads. Then it shows live. You jump on, but it's ended.
Yeah, and last night the girls were saying if you unsubscribe and then resubscribe,
Yeah,
it'll sort it
doing
out.
that. Yeah,
So I've
yeah,
done
doing that
that.
occasionally is a habit. To
Yeah.
channels you don't want to miss is a good practice, really.
Well, I did it, but I still didn't get a notification for Nuff.
Oh,
Or
fuck.
genetic code. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Pardon me French, everybody. But so I don't know why. And then I'm thinking, am I like shadow banned or something? Have they taken my powers?
Yeah, you are, Kiss. You're
Powers?
shadow banned because your name is Edith.
But yeah.
All right, Edith.
Oh, yeah, Jen's just saying she's not getting them too. It's really because I didn't enough. I didn't know anything about what was going on with Salty until Bedtime Clown came up on my panel the other night. Because I was like, hey, what? Hang on a minute. So, and I felt awful because I've missed all of this. Sorry about the dog. So, yeah, so please, anybody, if you're listening and you've put something up and I've not commented or I've not been in or what have you, I'm not doing it on purpose. I'm just genuinely not getting any
Yeah,
flipping.
I think the truth of the matter here is that Kiss has been so busy looking up those cheesy nachos, she can't drag herself away.
Story.
Admit it. We're here for you, Kiss.
Thank you. Thank you. So the
sorry, can I just, who said, someone mentioned Raven? Just so Green Eyes, say hi to Raven, send our love, and I hope she feels better soon. Oh, she's got long COVID.
Oh, Raven has.
Yeah, sorry, Green Eyes said that earlier. If I don't say it now, I'll forget. Yeah, Green Eyes, send our love. I hope she's all right. Obviously, she's not all right, but tell her to rest up.
Oh God! And she's always out there shoveling the snow. She popped in the live the other night just to say hello to everybody. But yeah, fucking heck.
The long coat. I mean, that's and she's been working her ass off in between as well, or the whole time. Meanwhile.
And this long COVID. Sorry, we're doing the same again. We talk about something, then go vying off.
I know it keeps jumping off. Sorry.
No, I do it. No, it's not, because I was going to say with the long COVID, have you noticed it's very similar, or in my mind, do you remember ME that came up? The yuppie flu they called it way back when, and they were saying it was because of a lack of convalescence, and it was usually following people would get it. So following glandular fever. What do they call it in America? They call it something different in America, don't they?
Is it strep throat they call it?
No.
No.
Oh God, what's it called? It's a funny little name. They call it an ME of it. Oh, Linda's saying there she has ME. My friend's mum has as well, Linda, and that was brought about following an attack of glandular fever. And it seems to be very similar to this mono. Thank you, Simples. That's what they call it in America, mono. And it seems to be very similar, and they do say that with the glandular fever and with a lot of illnesses, you should be convalescing. Well, nobody does these days. You've got to get straight back to work because you can't afford to live on SSP if that's all you're getting. If your company don't pay your sick pay.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and in America, I mean, I don't think people get, they're let off sick days and stuff. Not like we get in England. It's not quite the same, ideas or whatever, priorities.
Oh yeah, simply saying it's post-viral. It's the same thing. Yeah. Well, it's like when people had babies, wasn't it? In like the 60s and I think even into the 70s, when you had a baby. Apparently, I mean, I'm only going off what people have said, but you had a baby. And they kept you in hospital for like a week. You didn't do anything. They brought the baby to you to feed it. And then they took it and put it in a cot. And you rested. Whereas now you have a baby and sometimes you're out the same day. Kick you out, get you home, and they want the bed for somebody else.
Yeah. it used to be when I had my first son, so he's 16, and I ended up having a cesarean. So I obviously tried for the normal labour, it didn't work out. And that had just been reduced from a week stay to 2 nights. You had to do 2 full nights, but I had the baby with me straight off. I mean, I couldn't move, I couldn't even sit up. First cesarean and that, it was really, really painful, but I didn't get any help of the nurses.
No, it's when you think about like my nan was saying, you know, when she had her babies, she said you didn't do anything. She said even the doctors coming down to check, you're all lying in bed on the ward, and the sister would come down and go, legs up, ladies, up and open. And she said they'd just literally all be lying on the bed while the doctor looked at everybody's muff as they went past to make sure the stitches were
God, I almost had a Carry On film picture in my head then. Oh,
yeah. Or Bernard Breslau raking his knickers out of his ass dressed as a nurse.
Yeah.
God, enough saying it's 6 hours now. Good grief.
Oh, right. Yes, sorry, that's what I was going to say. Enough. Yeah, when I had my last little one, 2017, it was 1 night. But what time did I go down to have? I think I was in, he was delivered about 11:30 in the morning. And then the next day, so yeah, I remember the fucking bitch nurse. So I bought all new stuff, obviously. I had new blankets, new pajamas, new dressing gown. And she took the cannula out of my hand a bit too quick, and it was spurting blood. Like, I was going, nurse, like that. And the lady in the bed next to me just whispered, she went, I don't think she can hear you. And I had to run down the bloody, you know, with a C-section, I was sort of hobbling down with this blood spurting out of me like it was fucking Freddy Krueger. So yeah, all my nice new stuff was all blood stained.
Do you know, they did that to me, and because I had to have it's a thing in our family. I had to have my gallbladder taken out when I was it 22, I think. It seems to affect the women in our family. So two of my cousins have both, only the women, not the men, 2 of my female cousins have had it done. Again, we were all in our very early 20s. And they give you have to have injections in your tummy. It's a tiny little needle, but it's an anti, well, obviously Green Eyes and Simples will know what it is, but it's this stuff to stop you getting a blood clot when you've had your gallbladder out. And it was the same thing with me. As they were letting me go out, it was a trainee nurse took the cannula out of my arm. And obviously, because I'd had this anti-clotting agent injection, it was the same thing. It was pissing blood everywhere. And this poor girl, she got absolutely bollocked by the sister on the ward. She's screaming at this nurse, don't you read now? And I'm thinking, oh, I forgot, the poor thing. You know, yeah, maybe she should have had a look. I didn't bleed to death. Do you know what I mean? It stopped eventually, but yeah, same thing.
It does spurt, doesn't it? It's quite freaky. I mean, it was, you know, I sort of moved my face out the way. I was fucking running down the bleeding hall like that.
Oh, what's that? Tinzaparin. Oh, is that what it's called, Simples? All I know is
I had to have, the same injections in my stomach, so I had to have them for a week, 1 a day, and just different points on my tummy after the C-section for the same reason, stop the blood clots.
Yeah, they were giving them me around my belly button, and all I remember, it was the tiniest needle, and I'm thinking, oh, that's nothing, that, and it stung like a motherfucker after it.
It hurts, mate, it hurts. Well, we had to do it ourselves. Well, I got Lloyd to do it, and I'd have to brace myself, and be like, just do it. And it is a thin needle, but at the end of the week, he looked at me, he said, how'd you get those bruises on your stomach? I said, from the needle. Yeah. You're not doing it hard, but it's bruising. It's going, you know, it's obviously causing a bit of damage, but.
I know, well, there you go. It's, oh, stop saying that. Porky said I keep saying, there you go, all the time. I didn't realise I was doing that. I'll say something and go, there you go.
There you go. There you bloody go. We veered off again, haven't we? What do you want to get back onto?
We have. So let me have a little look. Is there anything else that let me just go through my notes about the investigation. So we've done, so they taped her mouth up. They water in her mouth. They had, we've had the mediums that have come. They've had magicians come in to try and debunk the things that were happening. They have had a ventriloquist come in to try and debunk what was happening. They've had physicists and phonetics experts and speech therapists come in to try and debunk the voice. None of them managed to do it. What else did we have? I'm just trying to think here. Oh yeah, also as well, Janet, she was admitted to the London's Maudsley Institute of Neuropsychiatry.
Yeah, they monitored her there for a while, didn't they?
Yeah, I was in there for a month or so, something like that. And I think they were testing her to see if she had, because obviously some of this behaviour that she was exhibiting, it could have been Tourette's, because some people with Tourette's would exhibit some of this similar behaviour.
Yeah.
So they tested her for that. They tested her for epilepsy. They tested her for brain damage, and she was perfectly fine. She had none of these, none of these ailments. She had nothing physically wrong with her. So it wasn't like they had not tried to cover every single base, which is why I was quite surprised that the SPR then investigated the investigation, because they'd literally covered everything.
Yeah, I see. But then if I were Maurice Gross and these people come in lauding it in a bit saying, well, we're going to retest, I would actually think, well, fine, I'm so confident that this is what it is. I would have just stepped back and had the confidence to know in the end they're only going to add a leg to it and then increase its validity, because there's no way you can. The confidence was there with it, wasn't it? But it's the whole power ego thing a bit, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, I think. Did you ever see there was an interview with the sisters, and they were talking about a woman called Anita Gregory, and that Janet goes, I despise her and all this lot. Now, she was an SPR member, and she just didn't believe this from start to finish. She was an investigator, and she had gone to Enfield to investigate, and she was arguing with the other investigators that she said she just thought the girls were play acting. She alleged that one of the investigators told her that Janet had taught herself the trick of talking in a deep voice, and that she enjoyed keeping strangers hopping about. She claimed that Peggy Nottingham, who was, Vic and Peggy, the next door neighbours, the builder, she claimed that Peggy Nottingham had told her that what was going on was pure nonsense, and it was being kept going by the investigators. But Peggy never said that. So I don't know what she was hoping to achieve, whether she wanted her own little bit of notoriety. I don't know. But this Gregory woman, she never ever accepted that these voices were coming out of Janet. And she said that Guy Playfair's book that he wrote, that This House is Haunted, she said it was really sketchy, it was unsystematic, it was imprecise, and it was ambiguous at best, to be seen as any form of contribution to any psychic research. So she was down on them all.
Yeah, and that's just opinion, isn't it? An opinion is like as good as a chocolate freaking teapot, really, unless you're just having a chat.
It is, but it did start to carry weight with the media, because everybody, everybody likes something to be debunked. It's just human nature, isn't it? We all like to see somebody take a fall, and unfortunately, for the family, I think especially for the mother, for Peggy Hodgson, I think it was very unfair, because the negative press, because initially the press were all for them. Everybody was for this family, and they were getting interviewed, and the television was making programs following all this real skeptical overview of the case. It was like everybody turned on them, and I do feel sorry for the mother in that respect, because she was just trying to keep a family together and a roof over the head. So
that's right. And I actually haven't got the lady's name. I've got, but one of the ladies, it might have been Maurice Gross's wife, actually disagreed publicly, saying no, Margaret wasn't like that. She kept a good home. She was a good mum.
Yeah.
Sorry,
absolutely. I mean, even, do you remember me on about the girls were being bribed? Well, they were offering the girls bribes at one point. Some unscrupulous newspapers. they were offering them quite significant amounts of money to say that they'd faked it, and they never would. And then Maurice Grosse had discovered that some of these journalists had also tried to bribe Peggy Nottingham with £1,000 if
Wow.
she would say on the record for these newspapers that all the events were a pack of lies.
Yeah. Because
And
that's just business, isn't it? I mean, the papers sold because it was all exciting, with the story breaking, and everybody loves a good ghost story and whatnot, don't they?
yeah.
And then that would have died off. Then what's going to make the papers resell? Obviously, a bit more sensationalisation.
I know, and it's such a shame. And then, I mean, towards the end
And
of, oh, sorry.
yeah, sorry, go on. No, go on.
No, I was just going to say about Morris. Well, actually, shall I leave that little bit because it was just about talking, going towards the end of his life. If you've got anything else, I can keep that towards the end of this.
No, go on. No, share. What was I going to say, actually, quick? It was, oh, fuck, it's gone out of my head. No, go on, you carry on.
Oh, sorry, that was me, bloody blabbling.
No,
Well,
it's not your fault. Don't worry, Enid.
he was.
Edith.
I don't even bother now. Everybody knows my name. I don't care. I've been doxxed. Yeah, he was. As he, got on in life, he became quite occupied with. He seemed to feel the need to defend himself more and more, and I can understand that, because he did appear to me, and obviously only my opinion, as a guy with quite a lot of integrity. He wasn't. Maybe he was too kind, I think, or too believing of the children. He didn't want to think badly of them, even though they were being little buggers at some point. But he seemed to become very preoccupied with trying to defend his investigation.
Yeah.
I mean, he wrote a lot of articles for a lot of different publications, and he went out speaking at conferences. Remember that there was a television program called Strange But True that Michael
I do,
yeah,
yeah.
I've only seen it on YouTube, but he did a program for that as well. Basically, again, to put his side across. That was in '95, and then a couple of years after that, he'd been attacked, not physically, obviously, but he'd been attacked by this psychologist called Nicholas Humphreys. And there was a Channel 4 program called Is There Anybody There, where he basically was just slating Maurice Grosse. So he then appeared in, there was a Right to Reply program to give his version of events. And then there was also, do you remember, I've seen, again, there's a program that you can pick up on YouTube, and it's called the Ghost program that the BBC banned. It basically scared the nation. And it was a drama.
I haven't seen that. What's it called? The Ghost Program.
It's called Ghost Watch, and it was done as a spoof. Yeah. So it had what was his name? Flipping heck. Michael Parkinson. So
Parky.
yeah, so it was done with Parky, and do you remember Sarah Green and Mike Smith, the couple?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, wow.
Yeah,
Sarah Green. Fucking hell. What was she? Weren't she out of Blue Peter? Is that right?
She was Blue Peter. Now, the way they did it, it was a little bit like, when Most Haunted were doing their lives. So you'd have
on
the ground, and then you'd
I'm
have.
thinking about Sarah Kokora now. Go on.
Yeah. So, I mean, they didn't have a medium in this thing, but it was a similar setup, and it was prior to Most Haunted. And I often wondered, is this where Most Haunted got the idea from?
Yeah,
Because
probably.
they had on the ground. Yeah, and it very probably was. And so they had the crew on the ground. Then they had Michael Parkinson. So he was playing himself, being in the studio. Then they had Mike Smith, who was taking phone call, saying, "Oh, we've had a phone call in saying somebody's just seen this on a camera." And the two presenters were Sarah Green and Craig Charles.
Oh, right. Red Dwarf, yeah.
Red Dwarf. So they were in this house, and what was going on in there was very similar to, it was kind of loosely based on Enfield. It was a single mother, dysfunctional family with the children being possessed and haunted and all the rest of it. Well, apparently, in the break, the BBC were inundated with phone calls and complaints. People saying the kids couldn't sleep, they couldn't go to bed. There was a
How funny.
yeah, but there was actually a suicide attributed to it. Some kid, well, young man, teenager, committed suicide because he
Oh
was
my
so
God. Sorry, that isn't funny, obviously.
yeah,
Really?
yeah, and it was
That's as
all
bad as.
because sorry.
Oh, because of a few ghosts and I was going to say it's as bad as when that story of when they read out the War of the Worlds for the first time in America, and
Right.
people actually thought there was a freaking invasion.
Yeah, well, that was actually what they based the idea when this idea was formulated. It was along the lines of the War of the Worlds thing that would
Yeah.
hopefully get people. So it was the exact
Oh,
same basis
right.
as War of the Worlds. But yeah,
And it
so in America,
worked.
all sorts of controversy, and because they'd done that in 1992, I think it was, and because it mimicked a lot of what had gone on in the Enfield case, they were sued, and like the BBC was sued, and that Guy Playfair, he received an out of court settlement for it. And then in 1998, Maurice Grosse took court action. You know, David Baddiel, the comedian?
Yeah.
Yeah, he apparently gave Maurice Grosse's name to a character in a novel that he'd written called Time for Bed, about a psychic investigator who run away with a married woman. So again, that was an out of court settlement, although Maurice Grosse gave his proceeds to charity. So it's
Wow.
the poor guy, his involvement with Enfield didn't cease.
That followed him around forever, and him having to constantly defend it.
I know. So yeah, I mean, as far as I'm aware, because I think he's still alive now. That Guy Playfair, he if he is still alive, I know that when this article was written that I read, he was still involved in psychic research. You know, after Maurice Grosse had died, but and I
No, he
think
passed 2018. He passed.
oh right, okay, oh yeah. So I wasn't sure that this had been written a couple
Yeah.
of years ago. The article that I'd had
So
a look at.
he was 83, so that's a fair age, isn't it?
Wow, yeah, and one of the things I picked up on about Maurice Grosse, and I thought it was so sweet. He, in one of these interviews I watched, I don't know if you caught this when I mentioned it the other day. It was a very, I mean, we only see him with like wild hair and this handlebar mustache, but he was a very dashing man when he was in the war. And, you know, he was in the armed forces during the Second World War. And I just thought this was lovely. He met his wife at a tea dance. And this happened on the Sunday. So he went along to a tea dance and he met his wife on the Sunday, proposed to her on the Thursday, and they were married within 10 weeks of meeting.
Oh, see, back then you just like that's so sweet. But obviously, if you heard that today, you'd be like, you need a
Yeah.
therapist.
Yeah, well, he was just having a little giggle because he said, you know, we were told these war marriages, they never last. And he said, and obviously they don't. He said, because 52 years later, we're still happily married. But it was quite nice seeing that. But I tell you, considering we saw him in older life, I would never have thought. I saw the photographs of him and his wife when they first met. She was stunning. And he was
Yeah.
really, really handsome. He was a really handsome chap.
I mean, he's got a lovely look even in his older age. I think he's kind of quintessentially a British gentleman, isn't he? Just has that look of what is Britain.
I know. And
But
I just
I've got sorry, sweet. I've got to pop to the loo very quick. I'll be 2 minutes. Is that all right? Sorry to interrupt.
No problem. I'll just I'll rattle away till you come back, and then we can maybe do your book if you fancy that.
All right,
Okay, see you in a tick. So guys, sorry, I've not been watching the chat. Now let me see where we got up to there. So as I was saying, although Peggy Hodgson, the mum, she died in 2003. After everything died down in 1978, she avoided publicity, but she never ever changed her position on what had happened. Billy, who was the youngest child, the one who had the speech difficulties as a little boy, he was always quite indifferent to what had happened because it didn't really affect him in any way. Now, whether he blocked it out, I don't know. But yeah, I think Janet, she spent a lot of time being bullied at school. She got the nickname Ghost Girl. And this was when she did mention that she had played with a Ouija board before the trouble had flared up. She also claimed that she didn't know she'd ever gone into any trances until she was shown the photographs that had been taken afterwards. And then she was saying that as far as the voices went, she never felt like they were coming from her. They always felt like they were coming from somewhere behind her. As we said, she admitted that they did all sorts of tests. They strapped her mouth up. They filled her mouth with water. The voices carried on coming. A curtain had wrapped around her neck at one point as though she was going to be hung. So yeah, it was quite sad. And obviously, somebody said in the other day, I think that might be Denny.
Hi, I'm back, by the way. I'm listening.
No worries. So I was going to say, as somebody said in chat the other day, that those two sisters look haunted. And pardon the pun, I think that might have been Simples. And they do, because obviously they've had to live that like right the way through their lives. And just before I finish on this bit, the interview that I saw with Maurice Grosse 20 years after, so this would have been in about 97, 98, he went back to the house and he met up with Peggy Hodgson and Margaret, but Janet refused to take part in it. She wanted to protect her anonymity because I think apparently she left home at 16. She left home at 16 and went to make her own way, and she didn't want until much later on, so into her 40s, before she was prepared to talk about it publicly again. So it's quite sad because it's affected those girls, forever, really.
Yeah. Yeah, it has. Well, that's what they're known as. I have seen, the more recent interviews with Janet in them, bless her. I don't know, you can sort of tell, she just doesn't, not that you can tell a lot by just looking at someone, not unless you're like a body language expert, but I don't get the feel of her not being genuine. I didn't get that feel. I thought she seemed affected,
Yeah, and I think Margaret as well, although I think Margaret has become more vocal as she's got older, because she was more of a shrinking violet as a child, wasn't she? Whereas she seems a bit more willing to go into greater detail now, whereas Janet doesn't. Janet just seems to want to talk about what we all know, whereas Margaret seems like she wants to talk and she divulges more with each interview that she's given. So yeah, it's funny just to see that shift in personalities.
Yeah, over the years. And of course, I always remember the elder girl was always with her mum, wasn't she, in the interviews, bless her.
Yeah.
Sat next to her.
That's right. And Janet, as I said, Janet wouldn't. She was refusing to do these interviews. So yeah, I don't know, before we go on to Tizzy's book, has anybody got any comments in chat that you want to discuss, or just make any comments about what we've talked about? There's quite a bit of a delay.
While we're waiting, talking about Most Haunted with Derek bloody Akora, there's that one bit, obviously he's done so many funny bits, but does anyone remember he's sort of leaning out the window and the camera's sort of filming him from the back, and he's sort of talking, and then he pretends to get possessed, so he sort of comes back into the room and he's like I'll have to find the clip. He lets out this big old like non-demonic roar. Oh, cracked up. It's so funny. Did you get that? Did you watch that video I sent you earlier, Kiss?
I haven't. No, I've not watched it yet because I was running around like a blue ass fly.
You're gonna love it. It's a good ghost one.
Just say, Mrs. Mercury, which one of the girls went on the This Morning program? That was Janet. So that was the one, Mrs. Mercury, who made all the thin one with the blonde hair, who had the sticky out teeth as a girl. She was the one who did This Morning. What's Cassius? Oh, don't. I was just about to type.
Cassius, do you remember when he's just leaning out the window?
No,
like Derek has become possessed.
The favourite one that I love is the Mary loves Dick. Mary loves Dick.
Mary loves Dick.
Has anybody ever watched Most Farted?
No.
I've never fucking heard of it.
I'll send you a link. So some bloody funny fucker has taken all the best clips out of Most Haunted. They've changed it to Most Haunted, and they've changed the voices in it, and they put in fart sounds. And I'm not kidding you, I laughed till my sides were hurting watching it. So I'll find you a clip of that and send it to you later, because it is very
Cool.
Else. So that was Janet, Mrs. Mercury. So I don't know if nobody's got anything else. Should we go on to Tizzy's book? Because if you read, I can nip to have a wee myself, because I'm a bit cross-legged at the moment.
Absolutely, yeah, that's fine. So if everybody's ready, this is a book. It's called Strange Deaths.
I'll just mute myself and barks while I'm away from
all right, mate.
See you in a sec.
See you in a sec. Really, Kiss is going for a big poo. A big poo. A big stinky poo.
I heard that. No, I'm not.
She's dropping the kids off in the pool. Yes. So this book is called Strange Deaths, and it chronicles, there's various chapters. So I'll read out what the chapters are, and they are, as the name would suggest, weird ways in which people have died, you know, throughout the world. So I'll just read out a few titles of the chapters. So one chapter is called When Pets Go Bad, Twists of Fate, Out with a Bang, A Touch of Magic, Killer Critters, The Final Straw, They Died on the Job, Fatal Fish. Hi, Pork Chop. Yeah, see, Porky's just confirmed. She loves to cull one out when she thinks nobody is paying attention. Why have I just pictured Kiss in the litter box and not on the toilet? Obviously, Kiss doesn't do that. She's on the toilet. She's a very clean, lovely lady. Anyway, so I've actually bookmarked some pages. So this particular story is from the section called Oops. So people died in an oops sort of way. Okay, hold on, that's Ashton upstairs. I've got to just shut the door. Let me clear my throat. Oh, she's balanced on the edge. Oh, don't. I'll just say quick. The other night when I was going to bed and I was later than everybody else. Everyone was in bed and the house was quiet. And the new cat litter we got for the cat is lighter. It's like wood fibre. But just as I come out from doing my teeth, the cat was on the edge of his litter tray doing what he should be doing. But then the whole fucking tray tipped. He freaked and jumped 100 foot and ran. And I had to fucking clean up the bloody Keeler again. But anyway, everybody's got a very weird image of Kiss at the minute. But like I say, so this is from the section Oops, okay? So there was a dwarf nicknamed Odd, and he died in a circus accident in northern Thailand. According to the Pattaya Mail, he bounced sideways from a trampoline and was swallowed by a yawning hippopotamus, which was waiting to appear in the next act. Vets on the scene said Hilda the hippo had a gag reflex that automatically caused her to swallow. The vet said it was the first time the hefty vegetarian had ever eaten a circus performer. Unfortunately, the 1,000 plus spectators continued to applaud wildly until common sense dictated that there had been a tragic mistake. That poor little dwarf. Imagine that. So bounced off a trampoline into a hippo's mouth. Did you hear that, Kiss?
Do you know what? I heard it. I was just coming down the stairs to my phone and I heard a hippo. Like, I'm thinking, hang on, she's talking about hippos, yawns, and gag reflexes here. What am I walking?
So a dwarf in a circus, bounced off a trampoline into a hippo's mouth and got swallowed. I wonder how that one came out. Just makes you wonder about the shit after, doesn't it? Obviously, oh, I'm not thinking about that. I'm sorry, it's disgusting. Okay. All right, I've marked off loads. I am all prepped, but I'm just reading now, thinking. Anyway, hold on. Okay. Some coughing. Okay, this is from Oops again. So a 43-year-old Ukrainian man was electrocuted when he used a live electric cable connected to the mains in his house to kill fish in the river Terebyla. When the dead fish appeared on the water surface, he went to collect his take before turning off the power. According to the factory newspaper, he had intended to cook the fish for a meal to mark the first anniversary of his mother-in-law's death.
Unfortunate.
Random.
Look, I'm just cheeky bugger. I didn't realise he was in the chat.
Oh, we've just had a really good visual of how you go to toilet.
I love to curl one out when I think nobody's paying attention.
Yeah, Simples, what an idiot. Fucking fancy not. I mean, it's a good idea, but you'd be better throwing it's like something exploding into the water, wouldn't you, to shock the fish?
It's like the Darwin Award, isn't it?
Exactly, Darwinism at its finest. Okay, this particular section is the stories from Twists of Fate. So you admitted it, didn't you, Kiss?
No, I'm admitting nothing to anybody about nothing.
I'm saying nothing. Okay, sorry. Right, a thief died trying to flee an art museum in Bonn. Peter Gruber panicked after being surprised by a security guard at the Klausmann Museum of Art when he raced around a corner, impaled himself upon a 4-foot-long sword held by a statue of a blindfolded soldier. The exhibit is called The Weapon of Justice.
Oh.
Are these quite fun? Is it all right? It's not too boring, is it?
No. Just keep going with it.
Okay.
We learn things.
Okay. So this is from A Touch of Magic. So Baba Jallo, 28, accused of stealing a man's penis through sorcery, was beaten to death on the 9th of October 2003 by about 10 people in the town of Serekunda in the Gambia, 9 miles from the capital Banjul. For many years, there have been regular reports of penis snatching in West Africa. Purported victims often claim that alleged sorcerers simply touch them to make their genitals shrink or disappear in order to extort cash in the promise of a cure, though sometimes the attacker would just vanish. He's stolen me dick! He's got me dick! Sorry.
What the actual...
Okay, this is from the section called Killer Critters. Okay, 3 motorists were killed and dozens more injured by rock slides on the road between the Russian resort cities of Adler and Krasnaya Polyana. People in the area blamed malicious Caucasian bears, which started killing cattle by rolling rocks down the mountains and subsequently graduated to human beings. Not for eating, though. Vladimir Tak, a hunter, said that the creatures were attacking people on the road just for entertainment.
Attacking people on the road for entertainment.
So the bears were rolling rocks down the road, down the hill, to kill cattle for food, and then just for a laugh, they were like, "Oh, let's just get the humans."
I think they're actually giving the bears slightly more credit than is due, I think.
Okay, this is from. Say that again. Sorry.
No, I'm saying bloody hell. I said I'm enjoying these weird and wonderfuls though. They're great.
It's a whole. There's so many stories in it. There's so many random sort of. So I've read it. I've had the book for years. There's so much in here, really. Okay, this is from the section named The Final Straw. Okay, John Andrews, 66, a farmer from Moulton, North Yorkshire, beat his wife, Ingeborg, 61, to death after she fed him nothing but jam sandwiches for a month. He was desperate for a hot meal and begged her to make something different. He flicked when he got home from work and found banana sandwiches on the table. Ingeborg suffered 13 broken ribs, and he said, "A working man cannot live on sandwiches." Mr. Andrews was jailed for life.
The thing is, though, I mean, I shouldn't laugh at the poor woman's predicament, but I mean, jam butties, they're a staple of most northern towns, really, aren't they?
There's nothing wrong with jam butty. I mean, upgrade and like go toast. Treat yourself. Okay, right. This is from the section called Mysteries. And let me have a slug of coffee. Okay. This is quite an interesting one, right? Brian Smith, 43, the driver whose van nearly killed the horror writer Stephen King in June 1999, was found dead with no sign of injury in his mobile home in Freyberg, Maine, on the 22nd of September 2000, King's 53rd birthday. He had become increasingly isolated after the accident near North Lovell, Maine, in which King suffered multiple injuries and nearly lost a leg. The sheriff's deputy who discovered the dead man was the officer who had been the first one on the scene of the road accident. Both Smith and King had Edwin as a middle name. Sorry, I got tongue twisted. The author of Carrie and The Shining bought Smith's van for $1,500 and had it crushed in a wrecker's yard. He had pushed for Smith to be charged with assault and mocked him in a New Yorker article as a character out of one of my novels. Smith had received a suspended sentence and lost his driving license. An autopsy failed to find the cause of death. Toxicology tests would take 7 months. Several months. Weird, eh?
Several months?
Several months, yeah, but it doesn't follow up with whether. But he is the man that almost killed Stephen King in a car wreck. Then he was found dead from no known cause on Stephen King's 53rd birthday. And the guy that attended him was the guy that attended the accident all the years before. It's mad, isn't it?
It is. Well, wasn't it Stephen King who wrote... Oh, I'm a thing. Did he write Christine, the one about the possessed car? Was that a Stephen
Christine,
King?
yeah, Christine, isn't it? Yes, he did.
Well, maybe it wasn't. It wasn't just an invent.
There you go.
Story. Maybe
all these inspirations.
Yeah.
Okay. This is a Dutch woman was on her way to a meeting about the dangers of objects kept on balconies, and was killed by a flower pot that fell from a 6th floor balcony. The 65-year-old was due to meet a group of fellow residents in Den Bosch, including the owner of the flower pot.
Flipping it. Yeah, see, it's coincidences. They're too weird, aren't they? That you can't make it up.
And did you know this? That in the Philippines, right, they love karaoke, and no disrespect to anyone if anyone in the audience is from the Philippines. I had a Filipino teacher. She was one of the best people I've ever known. Anyway, but by all account, they're really obsessed with karaoke. But the song My Way, obviously, is it Tom Jones or Frank Sinatra? Sorry, Frank Sinatra's My Way is banned because they're all so competitive over it. Did you know that? It's literally banned. It is illegal in the Philippines to sing My Way on karaoke.
Really?
Yeah, straight up, mate. I've got a whole section here on people. I'll only read one story, but I've got 12 stories here of Filipino people that have killed each other because they sang My Way out of key.
My Way. Oh, God.
It's fucking so random, isn't it? Right? It's just absolute right. So here we go. One man was killed and another wounded in the Philippines in November 2001 when a fight broke out at a karaoke bar in Manila over the quality of the singing. Many karaoke clubs in the country had already removed Frank Sinatra's My Way from their playlist because so many fights broke out as the egocentric anthem was being performed. In July 1998, drunken revelers fatally stabbed Eli Dignadice, 29, after he sang an off-key rendition of a popular love song, Remember Me, at a Manila karaoke bar. His performance drew jeers from 10 men who later attacked him with knives, bottles, wooden clubs, and a gun.
I mean, that's overkill, isn't it?
I'll say. And okay, just another quick one. When 2 Filipino men sarcastically applauded a student's off-key rendition of My Way in a Manila karaoke parlour, February 2002, a fight broke out. The two left to avoid further trouble, but the 21-year-old student ambushed and shot them outside. One was killed and the other was seriously injured. Casimiro Laguarde, 25, was asked to sing My Way during a birthday party in Calcuan, a suburb of Manila, on the 22nd of June 2003. Annoyed that he was singing out of tune, his neighbour, Julia Tugas, 48, stabbed him in the neck. Laguarde was rushed to the hospital, died while being treated. Tugas later surrendered to the authorities. And now is the end, and now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. All too often comes true. Yeah. So don't ever go, if anyone's ever going to the Philippines, for fuck's sake, if you're going to sing My Way, make sure it's in tune. But then what is in tune? Suddenly that definition, that could be a bit broad.
I'm just looking here. Porky's put in about, I don't know if you can see his comment, he's put, the idea for Christine was hatched back in 1978 when King was walking home one day and thinking about his dying Pinto. Wait, now a Pinto,
is that a car or a Pinto? Or...
No, I think a Pinto's a horse, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah, a Pinto is a horse. But he's saying here, if King had to pay royalties for inspiration, this Pinto, which he bought with the hardcover advance for Carrie, would have earned a mint by now, since it also provided the initial spark for Cujo.
Wow.
Dog, wasn't it? So, he's put a Pinto as a car. Well, I'm sure, Pork Chop, if you're on the Google, I'm sure that there's a horse, an American horse called a Pinto as well.
Yeah, that's right. Like a pinata, or that's obviously just the thing with sweets in, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the donkey thing that you smack, or the you're blindfolded out and you have a stick and you beat it and it lets all the sweeties out. That's why I was a bit thrown then, because I'm thinking, I'm sure a Pinto is a horse. So, but
so that was his car. Random. So I'm trying to remember what his inspo for The Shining was. I think it just was that he was in a weird hotel. Nothing necessarily went on. He was just in this strange hotel, wasn't he? And the idea kind of, just grew from something as simple as that. It was a creepy hotel, but nothing had gone on. All right, look, last story from this book for now, okay? And then I will hand your show back to you.
No, you're fine. I'm enjoying these little snippets.
Oh, good. Okay. Right. A 59-year-old chef died after a 50-centimetre Asian swamp eel was put up his bum. Doctors in Sichuan, China, found the marine creature in the man's rectum after his death in April 2010.
I'm sorry,
I missed allegedly...
What was shoved up his bum?
An Asian swamp eel.
Okay.
Yeah, so his pals, his friends, had inserted it up his bum after the guy passed out drunk, and they thought they were playing a prank, but the doctor said the eel had devoured his bowels.
Oh no.
Yeah, man. Oh god, I just fucking want to throw up thinking about that.
No, it doesn't. As soon as you mention something up a bum, her ears prick up.
I know. And no. I think that you just interrupted because you wanted us both to be able to say up the bum again.
But go on, just say up the bum.
Up your bum. Not up your bum, up anyone's bum. Do you know what I mean?
No, I'd heard you saying the bit up your bum, but I missed what it was. And I'm thinking, what the hell? What was up?
Yeah, so an Asian swamp eel. That sounds gnarly, doesn't it? Whatever the fuck it is.
That's actually worse than the hamster.
Yeah, because the hamster obviously probably would have died of suffocation, but the eel, he was loving it. He was like, yo. All right, here's one. So passers-by ignored a dead man decked out in sadomasochistic gear and hanging by a spiked dog collar from a fence, thinking it was an ad for a sex shop. Manhattan police were finally alerted by a dog walker and were trying to identify the man. Foul play was not suspected.
Really? Oh, unless they thought he was doing that self-choking thing that Mick Hutchins did.
Yeah, he must have done, but it's weird that he was out the front of he was out the front on a fence.
Well, actually, here's a story for you. This was it 5 or 6 years ago? Because things happen that's weird. Up in Keswick, well, near Keswick, one of my work colleagues, they'd sent me an email, and apparently there was a naked man walking around. I think he only had shoes and socks on, walking around Keswick, and nobody ever managed to identify who this guy was. They think he'd possibly been on a stag night and had been abandoned naked. But yeah, it was there was people taking photographs of it. It ended up in the local paper, but yeah.
I know humans are awful, really. You know, we take a picture, have a laugh, won't we? Or like that guy hanging there dead, and we're like, oh, that just must be an ad for a sex shop. Like, really?
I must admit that wouldn't be the first thing that crossed my mind.
I would just be like, that is just not right. I would probably kick him, not hard, but just to see if anyone was in there. And if anyone reacted, I'd be like, you need to be in a room. You need to get a room, my friend.
Yeah, with yourself.
Yeah, with your bad self.
Yeah, with your bad self. I mean, I'd be more likely to be one going, do you realise there's kids walking past here? Cover yourself up.
That's precisely it. If I had my kids with me, I'd be like, how dare you?
You dirty get. Oh, I was right. He's just put an American Pinto is what is known here as a piebald. Thank you. I thought it was a horse, but obviously it's a car as well.
Oh, right, piebald. Yeah, so you get piebald or skewbald, don't you?
Yes. Piebald is brown and white. Do you know, I can never remember the colours.
I think you're right, and skewbald is the darker.
Yeah. I just call them coloured cobs, and that's easy. It covers a multitude of sins then. All the years I've had horses, and I can still never get it right if it's piebald or skewbald, but I think piebald is brown and white.
I think you're right, yeah.
Let's cover all... What's that?
Hey?
Let's cover all the pintos and not forget the speckled bean. I don't know what that is.
A speckled bean. It sounds suspicious, Porky.
Oh, am I being thick again? Yeah, but what's that got to do with a horse or a car?
What, pinto, speckled bean?
Oh, a pinto bean. Oh, is there a bean called a pinto? I didn't know that. As I don't
yes, that's right. Yes, there is. Yeah.
No, beans are not on my list of foods to eat or foods I enjoy to eat.
What, no type of beans? Do you not even like baked beans?
No.
Heinz?
No.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know why. I've had this conversation so many times. I don't know whether I might have had simples. It's a fucking bean. I don't know whether I had a bad experience as a little one. I've got no idea. But if I I love the smell of baked beans. I love seeing people with them on the breakfast. I'll cook them. If I try and take a spoonful of beans, they stick in my throat. It's like my throat closes up. It's not an allergic reaction. I just start gagging and retching. Cannot swallow them. So I don't know why. Maybe I've had a bit of a trauma as a child, and it's lingered with me. But yeah.
Right, that's weird. I'm the same with mushrooms. I love this. I think mushrooms smell so delicious as I cook them, and I'll happily cook them. I've tried them so many times that I just can't. I can't handle the texture. Ugh, no, thank you.
Yeah, I've got a friend like that who, and in fact, my uncle, he can't eat mushrooms, and again, he said it's the texture of them.
It's the texture. They're so freaking bouncy. It's not right. I wouldn't mind them if they're crispier. I just don't know if it's possible to get them that crispy.
Yeah, in butter, and cremate the shit out of them.
So I had baked beans. We had jacket potato tonight. A nice easy dinner, and I had a few beans on there. Beans.
I had a bacon on toast. I had for mine because
what did you have? Sorry, cut out the bacon
on toast.
Oh, nice, very nice.
Just had bacon. Well, I thought I've got some bread in the house. I'm going to eat it because I've put. I was like, oh my god, I've put 4.5 pounds on since I stopped smoking. So I'm gonna.
How much have you put on?
4.5 pounds. It's
no,
like a pound.
Well, I bet it doesn't even show on you. What have you got? A fat little toe?
I might have. I don't know.
Yeah,
he's probably noticed it, but he wouldn't say if he'd noticed anyway. So, but yeah, I was just like, shit, can't be doing this, right?
I'm sure he doesn't notice, but Yeah, that's to be expected. Have you noticed you're eating a bit more, or?
No, I hadn't, but I obviously must have been because I'm not doing anything different. So I thought, well, what's it called? I'll just get rid of the things I shouldn't be eating instead. So I'm going to eat them today and tomorrow, and then just get back on it on Thursday.
Look, Paul Trot said, "Oh, he's a good man, isn't he?
What's that?
As beautiful as you're, as beautiful as the day he met you, sweetie," said to you.
Oh,
Yeah, that's really sweet. Pork chop.
He'll probably put a vomit emoji or something in a minute, though.
He didn't. No, he didn't. He meant it because it's real. See, there was that other weird story of the guy that had, I think he'd had curry or something like that, and he tried to give his wife a Dutch oven. So the other meaning for Dutch oven is obviously where you fart under the covers, and then you trap your partner's head under. It's obviously disgusting, but this guy did it to his wife. But where he'd had this curry, such a hot curry, the methane from his guff was so strong, it actually killed her. So it's like death by Dutch oven, literally. I'm going to put the kettle on.
Okay, see, I knew he'd take it back. I knew he'd take it back. Sorry, I was looking at the bottle of Pinto you left in the fridge. See, I knew he'd take it back. No, I'm having that. Cheeky bugger. So, well, if you're doing that, so what would people like the topic of conversation to go? Do you want some more of these little snippets from Denny, or just want general chitty chatty? Talk about what's going on in the YouTube world, or did you all hear about what I was planning on doing for my next live? I don't know who was in or not. So just in case anybody missed it, I'll just tell you what I was planning on doing. So last night we were talking about topics to cover, and we said, that we would like doing like a bit of history, like a bit of the paranormal, like a bit of mystery, like a bit of aliens. So what I decided I would do is that, Simple said, anything I am easy, but you like the aliens and the paranormal, don't you? So what I thought I'll do, just to make sure that there's a bit for everybody, because quite into what's NE? Am I being thick again, Simples? NE. It'd be something very obvious, won't NDE? Oh, near-death experiences, right? Okay, yeah. We can talk and do anything. Obviously, as you all know, there's my email address is on my About Me. So I'm happy if anybody, if you've got any topics or particular incidents or something that you want me to cover, just drop me an email and I can pick those up and go through them. But what I thought I'll do, because, I mean, sometimes, maybe 2 or 3 lives in a week, I'd rather do one that suits everybody. So one day maybe do history, another day maybe do a bit of mystery stroke, like the stuff that Green Eyes and Sheila enjoy, which is the forbidden history and ancient aliens and the weird and wonderful, mysterious things. You can, if you like, Simples, if you want to pop something over, and you're very welcome to come up on panel one night and we can do a live on that. That'll be absolutely great. And then I was talking last night about a few different topics, and we were talking about doing War of the Roses, because Woe Lisa is really into that, which I am as well. Talking about the Plantagenets. I also said that I would really like to cover Boadicea, as people call her, but I call her Boudica, and about the revolt against, the Iceni revolt against the Roman occupation of Britain. And then also mention the mystery of the Ninth Legion. Now, those of you who have watched the 2 films, one is called The Eagle, and the other film is called Centurion, and both of those look at different explanations as to what happened to the Ninth Legion. Now, it's a good mystery story, I mean, albeit 2,000 years old. However, it links in really well with Boudica, because when Boudica sacked what is now known as Colchester, so it's Camalodunum, the Ninth Legion was sent in to try and protect the Roman citizens, and they were more or less, and it's that battle is known as the the slaughter of the Ninth Legion. Now, some of them did survive. They ended up joining the legions of Suetonius, who eventually defeated Boudica and the tribes of the Britons. And then what was remaining of the Ninth Legion and some new members were then sent off, on various different campaigns throughout Britain against the native Britons. And then all of a sudden they just vanished from the records. There was never a mention made of them again. So this is what has brought this mystery about what happened to the Roman legion. A lot of people think that they were sent north of Hadrian's Wall, and because the Romans never managed to conquer Scotland, it was too wild, it was too dangerous. And there are a lot of theories about what happened to the Ninth Legion once they went north of the wall. So I'm actually thinking of the next live is doing a combination of the Iceni revolt led by Boudica, what had led up to that, and she was savage, absolutely savage with what she did, and then also pair that up with the Ninth Legion's appearance. So I don't know what you think, if that would be of interest to anybody. Because obviously I'm interested in it, but it doesn't mean anybody else would be. So I don't know what you guys think. I'll just go back through. So, today in history, Henry VIII married Anne Boleyn. Oh, was that today?
Oh, yeah, I just read those. Get my words, put my teeth in. I just read those facts, Porkchop. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, the Vietnam War ended today in 1983. We lost Challenger and all its crew today in 1986. Oh, was that the one that blew up, that space?
Oh, yeah, on re-entry. Oh, do you know, it's just the other day I watched the video, because, of course, they were filming it, weren't they? All the children of the school teacher had gone, and the parents were there, and then their faces. It's just really heartbreaking.
Wasn't she? She was British, wasn't she?
I don't know. I've got no idea.
Wasn't somebody British on that? Yeah, it was. Yeah, I remember.
I don't think it was a teacher.
But yeah, I know.
Challenger was on liftoff. Sorry, Kiss, I keep talking over you. Sorry, mate.
No, it's okay. I was reading the same comment. It was on liftoff, but I'm sure there was somebody British on Challenger. I might have dreamt that or made it up, but I don't know. For some reason, it's in my head. So yeah. So just, I don't know, anybody in chat, let me know if you think that one would be of interest to anyone covering Boudica.
Yeah, definitely. I think it'd be very interesting. And the way you deliver it anyway, you always make it interesting. So yeah, for sure. So it's just Josh Evans assuming.
I just love Boudica. I love, because obviously she went through an horrific time, which I won't go into here now, but I just love the fact that she was just a zero fucks given type of woman and didn't give a shit and just went off the wall, against the Roman occupation, which, took a lot. It would have taken a lot for anyone, but for a woman, back,
because she sounds like my kind of gal.
Yeah, well, she managed to raise upwards of 100,000 her army. 100,000 native Britons joined her army. That's how pissed off they were with the Romans. So,
wow, she's quite the lady. Yeah, no, I look forward to hearing about that. Definitely.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll do that one. And the other one I was going to cover as well was the hang on, was that her on the old pennies here? I don't know, Frida. I don't know if somebody might be able to answer that. I'm not sure. Do you mean like the old-fashioned pennies, the big ones? I know that she was very popular. The Victorians, I think it was around the time of Queen Victoria, because obviously she was a woman ruler, and there was a lot of a resurgence in interest in Boudica, and she was a true Brit, wasn't she? So yeah, I don't know Freed, lovey, but probably sounds like something that they would have done. So the other thing I was going to cover as well was that case in Todmorden, which was that Al fella who went missing, and they think he was abducted by aliens and appeared several days later on top of a pile of coal in a coal yard. And the police officer who found him then had an alien abduction experience probably a week or so later. So, and that's like up here in the north of England, that's like a well-documented case. So I fancied covering that.
Cool.
Yeah. And what about you?
Aliens. I don't verge, but I'll be interested to hear. I mean, obviously I've watched stuff on aliens and bits and bobs like that, but
yeah, I mean, what's your ideal? Obviously, because I'm not true crime. I don't cover it. I wouldn't cover it well because it's not my thing. I'll join in quite happily. If you cover true crime, I'd probably be jumping in and answering things, but it's not my thing, if you see what I mean.
Yeah, you love your history and whatnot, don't you? So it's
but again, I'd rather know what everybody wants to hear. I mean, what about you? What would be your ideal joining in, apart from talking about blue waffles and beef curtains?
Boy, beef curtains, damn it. I cooked a really nice bit of beef. I mean, I can't. We've had beef for our last few roast dinners, and honestly, every time I get it out now, this group pops to my head. I've been infected, for God's sake, no. But yeah, the beef was smooth, man. The beef was smooth. But I love Queen Elizabeth I. So anything around that time, I'm really up for. I like Amityville is another big favourite of mine.
Oh, and Bedtime Clown loves that, doesn't he?
Oh, really? Yeah. So that's more America. So I don't know if that, you know what I mean? It's obviously not the UK. And what else? Oh, the Bobby Mackey place. That'd be pretty. So I'm more on the paranormal, although I'm totally open to hear completely new subjects which I've knowing about. No one what does everyone in the chat think? I think everybody's just really happy to listen and learn. If I'm not being too rude speaking for everyone there.
No, it's just nice because, like I said, as you know, I can talk for England, and it's quite easy to get carried away with something that you're interested in, not really giving a thought to the fact that maybe people aren't as interested in listening to it. So, wind your neck in, Jax, and sort of talk about it. But I've just noticed here a bizarre fact about the Challenger disaster. At least 3 crew members survived the explosion and died of impact when the cabin splashed down in the ocean. I didn't know that.
Shit. God. That.
Green.
They were quite ways out, weren't they? Hold on, just going to take Lloyd's tea. I'll be 1 minute.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, well, I know Simples that you and we've covered a lot of stuff with Green Eyes and Sheila and yourself about the potential alien involvement in ancient civilization. So I'm happy to go through that because I am interested in it. Don't know a great deal. I know some about some. Green Eyes says, "Put up." I was reading about that the other day, and there were tapes too. Oh, tapes of the people still being alive. Green Eyes.
Oh no, that's awful.
Mrs. Mercury, Boudica sounds interesting, and Todmorden is that far from you. And are you aware of that that story about Todmorden, Mrs. Mercury? Let's see, Frida. It wasn't Boudica, it was Britannia, a symbol for protecting England. I don't think she existed. Actually, though, wasn't the whole Britannia thing based on the idea of Boudica? I'm sure I've read that somewhere that Britannia thing was just on the back of the revivalism of Boudica and her feats of war, I suppose, for want of a better word.
Yeah, and let's remember in history, they don't really like remembering the women, do they?
No, they don't. And again, it only came back into popularity because we had Queen Victoria on the throne.
Right.
Strong female ruler,
Yeah.
and then obviously with the Victorians, they started becoming very fascinated in history and archaeology and all sorts of shizzle. So it all kind of came into its own. But by the same token, it also became greatly exaggerated, didn't it?
Yeah.
Green Eyes is saying the tapes were of the conversation after the explosion. Oh God, I don't know.
I can't imagine how harrowing that is. Obviously, they're never going to release that, are they? Nor should they. But
No, I don't know. I wouldn't want to hear that. I think that would be quite invasive. A bit like the conversations from that flight, 9/11. And there was recordings of people making phone calls. I don't think I would want to hear those.
Like, do you know, I have to confess, I've listened to them, and gosh, they're harrowing. Obviously, it just breaks your heart. And even some calls from within the towers, it is macabre. It sounds awful now I'm saying it out loud. It's just a weird fascination I think some of us have with like final moments and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that I've tended to shy away from as a topic, and only because one of my very good friends, he is a surgeon in New York, and he was newly qualified when on the day that the planes hit the Twin Towers. And some of the stories, because you don't really hear about it, about the people being trapped in the towers and the people who died in the planes. But apparently there were an awful lot of casualties as well, from people standing around in the local area. And he was performing, the newly qualified surgeon, he was performing surgery on people in the streets. And I was like, shit, are you kidding me? I didn't even know about that. And he's like, yeah, amputations and so on. And he gets every year, and he will get quite traumatized about it. So out of respect for him, I've never really got into, not that he listens to my channel, but I've never really got into.
And it is obviously, it's a sensitive subject, and really, unless we're going to discuss conspiracy theories, which is a moot point considering the whole thing, isn't it? There's just no point. So yeah, I'm with you on that one.
The other one I really like as well, which obviously it's not crime, and it's slightly connected to that, is about the the Operation Geronimo, when the SEALs went over and they managed to catch bin Laden. The guys who found him. I found that very interesting too, how they were trying to identify him and all the hoops he had to jump through, and the fact that nobody wanted to take the plunge and go, yeah, we think it's him, we know it's him, let's get in there. And that's quite an interesting story, although it's not conspiracy and it's not a true crime, but it is quite fascinating about everything that they had to do in order to get the go ahead to actually put paid to him and his shenanigans.
Right. Interesting. Yeah, and that is because there's more facts that surround that, and obviously it must have been quite a process, mustn't it?
Yeah, very yeah. But he was a public enemy number one, wasn't he, for so many years?
Wasn't he? Shit. I mean, whether he really was responsible. Again, see, what am I doing? What did we just say? Shh.
Yeah,
we're not doing conspiracy. So that's that. Yeah.
We'll get away from that one.
He was the most, and probably still is the most hated face.
Yeah, old shitbag. Anyway, he's feeding fish now. Who cares?
Exactly. So here, another subject that I like, but this occurs in America. So some of our USA guys can sort of confirm if they're interested. You too, Kiss. But the stories of the skinwalkers. Have you heard about them?
Absolutely.
That's kind of alien-y, isn't it? That stuff really freaks me out. I've watched a few docos. There's some mountains in America, and it's on YouTube. I'll find it and send it to you later on, Kiss. But this guy is a real seasoned sort of like man that knows the land and all that, and he will not walk in these mountains at night, or full stop. Really, he just won't go near them.
It's not the crazies, is it? Because there's mountains called crazies.
Hold on, let me, because I'm sure YouTube will remember. Let me have a look.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, Green Eyes. There's a Skinwalker Ranch, but again, there's a lot of dispute over that because some people think that it's like nothing but a great big old hoax on the Skinwalker Ranch, but the Skinwalker legends, and that would be ideal to get somebody like Joe Mardre, and any even any First Nation people, because that's their legend, isn't it? That's part of their folklore. So somebody like Joe Mardre coming in and discussing the Skinwalker legend, I should say.
Yeah, and it was the ranch. You're right. That's exactly it. Yeah, thank you, Green Eyes. It was Skinwalker Ranch.
Yeah, because there've been a lot of mutilations there as well. That's another thing with that. What's the woman? Is it Cynthia Moulton Howe or something like that? Who she is an investigator on UFOs, and she is the one who's gonna. I think I might be wrong with the first name, but it's Moulton or Moulton Howe, and she goes out. When they find these cattle on the ranches, and they look like they had, surgery performed on them. And some of these will happen within minutes. The rancher will walk past, see a cow, walk to the end of the field, turn around and come back. Heard nobody, seen nobody, hasn't lost any time, but the cow is now dead on the floor with like missing missing eyes, missing tongue. Really weird. Really
that is weird. Yeah, that is weird. Hi, Sheila. I hope you're doing well.
Oh, is Sheila in? Hiya, lovely.
Yeah.
Sorry, I've not been watching the chat. Let me go back. Missed tonight, but I'll catch up. Was out visiting my sister. Well, can we talk about the Mothman? Yeah, Lisa brought that up yesterday. The Mothman. But I'm happy to talk about it. I don't know if I believe it or not. I don't know what you think, Sheila. I mean, have you heard of that one, Tez?
I have, yeah. I've seen some dodgy looking pictures. I mean, it does look like a large moth stroke man. But yeah, it's not one I've sort of looked into vastly. Not knocking it though at all, not by any means.
And what's the Eternal Flames put the Rake? I don't know what that one is.
Oh, actually, that's what I meant to say, Kiss. Earlier on, Eternal Flame said that name of that book with the guy who measures the souls. Sorry, I know we've clicked back a bit there, but she said the name of the book was called, is it 21 ounces, Eternal, 21 grams? Be interesting did you know what the difference was with Janet? Did you know that exact reading?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was up to 1 kilo. So it was like two pounds or something. 2.2 pounds, isn't there, in a kilo?
Oh, right. So it's not the same 1 point. I forget what. Anyway, sorry, I just wanted to remember that. I've obviously just.
Oh, I've just had a thought. I'm sorry, I forgot about this. Can I ask anybody if you've got? I know I keep doing it. I'm totally forgetting. Salty's PayPal. I meant to put it up on screen. I meant to ask this right at the start, and I forgot. So if anyone can drop it in chat, and I'll stick it up on the screen, please. Because I also want to give Bedtime Clown a shout out, because I know we've got quite a few new subs from America. And I wondered if I could ask you guys a favour. We've got one of the channel members here, and it's all one word, called Bedtime Clown. He's over in Texas. Him and his good lady, they do lives. It's true. He goes more or less down the true crime. He discusses the case, doesn't he? Really nice couple. They're really friendly, very welcoming.
Yeah, sub them. They're lovely.
Yeah, he's got a small channel like I have. But he really does, and unfortunately for them, I think the majority of his subs are over here in the UK, so we're always asleep when he goes live.
I know, it's awful, isn't it? Such a time difference.
Yeah, so we really need to get him some subs in America.
If anyone wants to chuck his link in, if anyone knows how to do that. So obviously, Salty's PayPal. I haven't got her PayPal, unfortunately. There you go, and Bedtime Clown's link.
Yeah, and for anybody who doesn't know, the link that I've just put up on the screen, it's a very well-loved friend to a lot of people on here who is having some real difficulties at the moment. Very genuine, very genuine. There's no you know, I know there's a lot of scams go on YouTube.
Yeah,
and
not this lady. She's got so much support. She's clear.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't personally know her. No, you just don't know everyone in the communities, do you? It's just how it goes. But she's loved. She is so loved.
Yeah, she is. She helps everybody. She puts herself out for everybody. She's having a really hard time at the moment. So if anybody can help in any way, that's the PayPal there. They're doing on Friday a live-a-thon for her to try and help as well. So
nice. Yeah.
and I'm just going to try and see if I can pin this one. Because I can't see. Can anybody tell me, have I managed to pin Bedtime Clowns at the top of the chat? If anybody can see that. I know we won't be able to Tiz.
No, unfortunately not.
Not to worry. But if that hasn't, if Bedtimes hasn't gone to the top of the chat, just somebody let me know. Oh, you can't see it, Porky. Thank you. Never mind. I'll try it again in a second.
I think you can only pin one at the top. So Sheila's first. So Salty's PayPal is like blue to me, and then the other one just is grey. Do you know what I mean? Like it's highlighted. Yeah. So you've pinned Salty. So I guess you can only do one at the top, but obviously you could alternate or.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, so, well, if I do that one, so there's Salties, and just quickly, I'll bob back and I'll put Bedtime Clowns up for a second, just so we can get some subs for bedtime. His is going to come up on the screen in a second. Let me see, because there is a bit of delay. There it is. So it's Bedtime Clown. That's his link there. Be really grateful if people could give him a sub. And he talks about all sorts of things. He talks about crimes. He talks about current court cases that are going on. He also does a bit of fishing. He has a boat. His partner, Voodoo Queen, the lovely, lovely couple. They have some great chats on, really funny. He's very welcoming. They always welcome everybody in. Quite a lot. Well, I think virtually all of us who are members in here follow him over there. Yeah. So yeah, please, if you've got a spare little sub that you can offer, give one to bedtime. I'm just saying. Oh, the name of that lady, Tiz, that I was on about is Linda Moulton Howe. Mrs. Mercury's just put it in. She's the woman who does all the ET and Ancient Aliens. So intelligent.
Is that on YouTube? Yeah.
Yeah, she's great. She's done all sorts of talks and things.
Oh, cool. I'll look her up. Hold on, I'm just going back to see the name. What's this that your Porky said? Is that real Porky about a another serial killer called Jack the Stripper? Really?
Jack the Stripper caused havoc in London's West End. He's targeted prostitutes in the area. I have never heard of that.
Are you pulling our leg, Porkin?
No, to be honest, I don't think he would have. Well, I don't know, actually. Is that serious? Oh, yeah, that's true. In the 80s. In the 60s, sorry.
In the 60s, yeah. Oh, wow.
No, I've never heard about that either.
I've never heard of that. So did he strip them? Were they naked and that sort of like, or was it because they were prozzies?
That would actually be quite a good name for somebody, you know, like a painter and decorator, Jack the Stripper.
It would be, yeah, you're right. Someone's going to coin that out there.
Well, if
you won't kiss royalties, whoever you are.
Oh, Hammersmith Nude Murders. Was that Jack the Stripper, or was that a different one, Porky? Do you know, he knows so many different things, this one here.
Well, that is cool. See, and we really, I mean, from the 60s, no, I've never heard that one. Never heard. Hammersmith, incidentally, is the oldest tube station in London.
Is it really?
It is, yeah. I made a point to go there because it was obviously the history and stuff like that. But obviously, it's not as old as time, obviously, but.
Oh, God. Kill them by asphyxiation. Spookily enough, there was a linked paint found on the bodies of each victim. Oh, after me saying Jack.
God. Yeah.
That's bizarre. Well, here, I'll give you a little bit of a fact, because I like all my little tiny facts. So when I was talking about Boudica earlier and the fact that she basically annihilated everybody who is in modern day Colchester, so Camalodunum, people may or may not know this. Any historian, Sheila might know this because I know she's into history. Camalodunum, modern Colchester, this is really weird. It has a mention in the Bible, and the fact that I think it was Saint Peter. It's in the Acts of the Apostles. So in the Acts, there is a mention of Camalodunum, and it's the only city, stroke town, stroke, populated area in the British Isles that gets a mention in the Bible.
Wow.
And also, I think it's because he met up with some Jewish person who had mentioned this, the fact that the Romans had thrown him out of, I think it was out of Camalodunum. And then the other mention is the fact that this is the oldest documented town stroke city in the whole of the British Isles.
Wow.
And by it's because it is in Pliny the Elder, who was a Roman historian. He was the guy who was documenting the eruption of Vesuvius and ended up losing his life in that, when Vesuvius blew. But he actually mentions it because he's trying to give people an idea of where certain places in England. He's talking about Anglesey. And because he knew people wouldn't know, he makes reference saying how many miles roughly it is away from the, basically the centre of the British Isles, which is Camalodunum.
Right. Bloody hell.
Two little bits. The paint was connected to a spray paint shop in Acton. Oh, Captain Spaulding.
Oh, that's quite specific then, isn't it? Car paint.
Yeah. Saying hi to Pork Shop and hi to Green Eyes. Also home to Europe's oldest surviving Norman gate, the Balkern Gate. Well, that's they've also got the oh God, what was the name of the flipping emperor at the time? Claudius. It's the Claudian Gate there as well in Colchester. And inside the building, and they've got reinforced glass floor, so you can actually see down to the archaeological remains of the massive temple of Claudius, which Boudica burnt to death. So yeah, that's why. She just. I mean, some of the things she did they were vile, absolutely vile. And when I do it, I'm going to have to give people a trigger warning because some of the ways that she wreaked her revenge on the Romans, and we're not talking men here, we're talking men, women and children. It was the absolute.
Oh right, so she didn't discriminate. She went hell for leather.
She did. I mean, and she had been, just very briefly because I don't want to do it tonight, but because her and her daughter, well, she wasn't. She was flogged. I mean, she was a queen. And she was a queen of a very, very wealthy tribe. They weren't, mud hut dwellers. These were very, very wealthy Celtic people. And she was flogged like a common slave. And her two young daughters, and when I'm saying young, they were young, they were raped in front of her by Roman soldier. So she had, just after this, she was just like, balls to the wall, fuck the lot of them. And that's what sparked the Iceni revolt. And so you can kind of understand where her absolute hatred came, but it was anybody, men, women and children, she spared none. So he said the Roman circus. I saw that, Pork Chop. I saw a programme on that, and I'm pretty sure that Time Team covered it as well, the Roman circus. Hello, Captain. I listened to the audio book Chaos on your channel the other night. Oh, I'm glad you went over there to Captain Spaulding's, Sheila. Because I was getting people, Danny, when they came in, so everyone was subbing over to Danny and to Captain Spaulding. So we're saying,
that's lovely. Yeah, good.
Yeah, so I mean, and obviously anybody, as you'll know, if there are any channels that you think we'll all be interested in,
What's that? I thought that was a dog's ass. Then you were showing on your screen for a minute.
I'm waiting to see. Oh, sorry, it's not a very good image at the minute. Hold on.
But yeah, while Denny's just sorting that out, anybody who's got got links for channels that you think we'd all enjoy subbing to or watching, please feel free to put them into the chat. It was used for about 150 years in the only known Roman circus in Britain. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that they covered that on Time Team. I do remember watching it, but I can't remember if it was Time Team or not. But yeah, it was quite huge. Arse shag, what am I looking at here?
This is I actually covered it. I covered up the because I didn't want to trigger anyone, so it says something different under there. Yeah, okay, you could probably, but I'm not triggering no one or getting all, so I've changed that. Oh shit, just said it there. Whoops.
Pets with big, okay.
Well, I just flashed it there. Did you see it? Whoops.
Pets with Tourette's. Where did you get this from?
Oh, I've had this for years. That's what I mean. When we've moved, I've found all my books. I've got this out. I was like, oh, Kiss will love this.
Rancid smegma. That looks like Cooper. You have some good from bottom. What's that cocking gas liquor? Who's saying that? I couldn't make up. Shitty knob. That looks like Maisie. Turn bandit. Look at that, and it's a hamster as well.
Oh.
Come. Oh my god! Oh, I don't like the spider. Twat. What's the one say underneath? I can't see for the
Oh, sorry. It said whore.
Oh. Arse
so it's the light in here. Oh, I hope you can see this one.
Yeah. I'm liking this. Oh, this is funny. Is that what? What's that? Veiny what? Bang stick. I've never heard it called that before. A veiny bang stick. Toss. Oh, bloody hell! Who would think?
I don't even know. I must have heard about this. But yeah, I've had it for bloody years. I'll have a little look and see when it was printed in a sec.
Have you seen that one? Brenda's what is it? Brenda's beaver needs a barber. Look that one. Look that one.
I'll jot that down in a sec.
You will piss yourself laughing. Plop plops. Ah, that's polite. What's that one? Help. Brown shell. Oh. One cup.
Disgusting, isn't it?
Yeah, 2 lovebirds, 1 cup. Cocksucking fudge packet. Bloody hell. Eating one. I think I've called a few people that over the time. Come loving slut. Nasty. Oh, Felchy bum boy. I know that town in Northern England. Oh gosh, do you know? I'm looking at this. It's totally ignoring chat. Sorry, guys. Let me just go back a second. I'm just laughing at keep looking at Tizzy's pictures while I'm addressing I'm addressing the chat. Right. Let me see.
Cooper likes rancid Stagman. No, he doesn't. Sheila, can you talk about Elizabeth Bathory? Oh, yes. Now, Vlad the Impaler, that's another one. I have got a couple of books on Vlad, and I went over his history. I got quite obsessed with Vlad. And he's loved. Vlad the Impaler is absolutely loved in that country. He is worshipped. So yeah, I'm happy. Elizabeth Bathory as well. I think she was very much maligned. I don't believe the stories about Elizabeth Bathory. About her bathing in the blood of virgins and what have you. She was a very independent female ruler who went against the status quo and was. I don't know if you know about that, Tiz, but that Elizabeth Bathory.
No, I don't. No, sorry, I'm just going to flick through these. Carry on, just so everyone can see.
Let people have a look at them. So yeah, I'm quite happy to talk about both of them. Elizabeth Bathory, I read quite a bit on her, but yeah, Vlad the Impaler, or Vlad Tepesh, as he is properly called. But yeah, he's in his home country. He's worshipped even to this day. Vlad the Impaler, wasn't he the inspiration for Dracula? He was pork chop, wrongly, I think, but yes, he was. Stephanie Harlow, Frida. Yes, I've watched some of her stuff. I do like her channel. Sheila's saying to Captain, yeah, she did enjoy that. I'd watched the Joe Rogan episode before, but was good to hear the book. Sheila gives a different perspective on the monster case, that is for sure. Yeah, I like it too, Frida. Let's have a look. You're beautiful. Everybody's. Oh, Captain Spaulding's saying he's hoping you're well, Tiz.
Yeah, I'm all good, Beers. How are you, mate? And Beers is like he doesn't drink beer, but we call him Beers. But Beers is Captain. But Captain, yeah, I'm good. How are you doing? I'm really sorry you lost your main channel, mate. Sorry for the blue screen temporarily, guys. You was like 12 off 1,000, weren't you?
Yeah, he was saying that he lost his.
I'm really sorry about that. I'm gutted for you. Oh.
Well, we were sending people over to sub from here, although there's not many of us, but hopefully we've made a little difference. So yeah, I'm very, very happy to cover Vlad. I mean, which one do you prefer to do first, Sheila? I mean, I can do one of those if you want me to do that before I cover Boudica. I really don't mind. I just like to do all of these topics I enjoy. So I'm happy to do whichever you guys prefer. I mean, take a vote. Let me know in the chat what you want me to cover next. And whoever, if we've got the most, whichever's got the most comments, then I'm happy to go with. I mean, some of them I'll have to research. Stuff like Vlad I won't, because I'm a bit of a know-it-all with Vlad. And Elizabeth.
Yeah, I didn't want to dox you, Beers. Sorry, but yeah, there you go. Sorry, Kiss. Carry on.
No, you're fine. They call me Beers because my last name is Beers. Okay. Oh yeah, Captain wants to do Vlad as well. Sheila says Vlad. Well, no, Sheila, honestly, love, I keep saying this. It isn't really, though, is it? My channel. I'm just the caretaker. It's our channel. I'm just the gobshite who sits up here and chats shit until somebody decides to come and join me. But I enjoy doing the research and whatnot. So yeah, I'm happy to. It's our channel because it's all of you who are making it as interesting, and you're welcoming new people in, and you're making it interesting for people to want to come back. So I'm very happy to cover whatever you like. I need to put Salty's link back up again. Sorry, I'm just going to try and find it because I put bedtimes up and I need to put Salty's back up. Sorry, bear with me a second. Oh, there we go. So I'll stick Salty's back up. We will listen to anything you do, and chat shit amongst ourselves as always. Yeah, but you know what I do though, Sheila? I get diverted, don't I? I go off my topic and join in on the chatting shit in the in chat because I'm easily distracted. I am easily distracted, but I really didn't think I would be enjoying doing lives. I've surprised myself quite a lot, actually. I thought it would be something that I would shy away from. It was purely done just so we all had somewhere to go, as you know. Yes, and Paul's
sorry, I'm just talking to Lloyd. Sorry if you can hear me whispering.
Lloyd?
Yeah, Lloyd. You can say
Lloyd. Hello, everyone.
You all right, Lloyd? Lloyd.
Lloyd. Are you great, hon?
I'm great.
Are you really great?
I'm really, really great.
We did a lot of sanding today. I'm telling you, I already said we did the stairs, but we also did the dining room table as well. Gave out of fucking the dust that come off that though. My God, we look like we've been in the Sahara, didn't we?
Oh,
The whole house is
yeah, we so finished and literally had to like wet all the walls and doors and fucking hoover and everything. But sorry.
I'm going to say Lloyd. Does Lloyd go on Lloyd? Does he go on playing his games? Is it only on like the PlayStation or the Xbox, or does he do them online as well, like on PC?
No, it's only PlayStation.
All right.
He's got an Xbox as well, but
yeah. I gave my laptop to.
He gave his laptop to Ashton. Do you wish you had another laptop?
No.
You do, don't you? You must have been.
I was just thinking because because obviously Pork Chop's here, and he uploaded his first video last week.
Can anyone post his link? I don't suppose you can do that. I keep forgetting to sub to him.
Well, hang on. Oh, I've highlighted his bloody thing by mistake. It's just Pork Chop. It's there. Actually, I think if you click on his name, I think you can go to the.
It'll come up with it. Yeah, say that later.
He just posted.
What game does he play then? Oh, hold on, I think I found him. Yeah, gotcha.
That one is it was Daisy, the one with the zombies in it, but it just uploaded it, and it was him wearing like a tartan frock, a pair of pink capri pants, and a flat cap, going over. I think it was like tightrope walking between buildings.
Daisy. Oh right, yeah, found it.
Yeah, but that's not going to be the one who puts his ghosty things on. But have you met Mirror Man who comes in? He's one of his gaming buddies as well. So Mirror Man comes in here as well. So I was just thinking if it was something you did, you could have, joined in with those guys because they don't half have a good laugh.
We'll get Lloyd. I've saved the link. I'll sub Lloyd's thing onto it. Lloyd can make a comment and they can chat like guys chat about their games.
Yeah. You don't know. It might be cross-platform. I'm going to play.
Yeah, he's UK.
Yeah, but cross-platform means he can use PC, I can use PlayStation.
Of course, yeah, it's so difficult that.
So we might be able to play anyway.
I can ask him, Porky, because is your games cross-platform? Because he will be listening. He'll still be playing, but he's really good. He multitasks. He has us on low until he hears his voice mentioned. For Tizzy's lovely husband, Lloyd.
Or as that lady calls him, and we're not racist because she is of colour, but she calls him Black Lloyd.
Let's have a look. First time, just while I'm waiting for him to come back, he's probably just shooting something in the face, so he will come back. Oh, there you go.
Okay, righty-ho. Lloyd's sitting back down, so say bye then.
I'll find out. I'll find out anyway.
All right. Yeah. Let me know. I'll let him know. Oh no, it's not cross. It's not cross-platform yet, So
no. But if any of the others are Porky, if Lloyd or Tiz ends up commenting on your channel, just let him know, and then maybe you can come and join in.
Has Porky got a PlayStation? Have you, Pork?
I don't think so. He's got all his computer screens and all sorts of shit set up in his computer.
Oh yeah, so it's like my eldest son. He's got a tower computer with the big screen. He's got one big screen, but I know they have like the three set up, all professional and whatnot, don't they?
Yeah, that's what he's like, and he's got different screens, like a big one, and I think it's like
Nice.
a huge screen or something. And then, yeah, but I don't know things like that. I'm not a gamer, so let's have a little look. First, oh, hang on, I'm missing comments. Look up NDE come up sometime. Simple as that sounds great. If you look up near-death experiences, and Frida, the first time I ever heard about Vlad was in a movie about Dracula. Sheila, we do it on purpose to distract you, but it's mainly old Beryl's fault. Yeah.
Oh, that Beryl, Beza and her balls.
What are you saying there? Console? What's that? I don't understand that. Oh, is it something about his game playing? Okay, whatever. Whatever.
Oh, right. So I see he's anti-console. That's basically okay. He's fits on consoles. They are low. No, I get though. But like I say, my eldest son, Josh, totally at Christmas, that's what he got for Christmas. I'm like you, Kiss. He got like a motherboard. I don't understand half of it. A motherboard, this and that. He's got a water coolant. Fuck knows. But he put it all together. He's well pleased with it.
Yeah, I think that was what he was on about this morning, because he's got Grand Theft Auto, I think he was saying.
Yeah.
Trying to play
it's a good game. It's so bad though, isn't it? When you watch it, really is so naughty. But I know that obviously pork chops are grown up, but like my son plays it. Yeah, no, people like I knew a friend of mine, he would just turn the sound down and let his like 3-year-old play it. But even my 16-year-old, he'll say, you have all sorts on there anyway. I'm not, oh God.
Yeah. No, I've not got the patience for a game. Oh, he's saying there, it's all down to preference. I use keyboard and mouse. Console players use the controller. Yeah, it's. I just know he said it was being a bit difficult trying to play Grand Theft Auto, like drive a car with using the keys. So
yeah, because it's not as sophisticated, is it? It's not as black and white as 4 moves.
I can't remember what you might have called me a cracker again when I said you use a controller. And
cracker.
Well, I got that yesterday when I thought he was offering to take the dog a walk. I said, "Oh, you're going to take the dog out for a walk while I'm doing the horse?" And he just went, "Cracker." Like, okay, my bad.
So that's not your safe word or anything, is it?
No, I don't have a safe word. Not a safe word thing.
No holds barred.
Well, no, I've just not. Don't start worrying me. I've just not gone down the hole at the need for a safe word thing. I'll bow to your greater experience there, mate.
Yes. Oh, well, someone told me about it once. Tried to ruin my innocent, pure mind.
Who told you that? Sorry.
I said someone told me about it once and tried to ruin my pure, innocent mind. Is that what could you not hear me?
Well, yeah, no, I couldn't. But I was thinking then. Well, that was a safe word, wasn't it? With those two fellas with the with the hamster up his bum shouting "Armageddon, Armageddon."
Yeah. Someone did not get the memo.
Because I was thinking that was the word that the hamster was trained to come out of the tube at, and he was like, "No, it's safe."
The hamster come out. Yeah, it's been trained with biscuits for months. It should have come out. So did the hamster live? I can't remember here. Was the hamster retrieved? Now we're talking about the damn thing. Did it live to see the light of day, or did it?
Yeah, I was just going to say the same thing. I don't know if the hamster survived, and then you came up with it. No, all that I know that happened is the second pocket of gas lit fire to the hamster and the fart, and the pressure shot the hamster out at speed, which twatted the fella in the face and broke his nose. But I don't know if it lived. So he's already got 3rd-degree burns on his face off the first fart that lit that set fire. The second one shot the hamster out and broke his nose, but I don't know if it lived or not.
I would say that's a lot of shock for a little critter. Its little heart probably just went.
Oh, and the poor little thing, because they don't live long anyway, do they?
No. Oh, I saw. Excuse me. Just choking. I saw a horrible video, and actually, of a guy kicked a squirrel off the fucking Grand Canyon, man. I mean, it's been done. This is years back. Yeah, the video's banned off YouTube. But I was just looking up some stuff on the Grand Canyon, and yeah, someone filmed him. Luckily, just punted this poor little critter off.
Horrible.
He was French, eh?
Well, there's things like that. I mean, I'm not going to repeat it because I get kind of traumatized speaking about animal cruelty. But I know that there was a guy. I'm not going to say what he did. He was an American soldier, and he was filmed doing something cruel to an animal when my brother was out in Afghanistan, and he was saying the British forces at the time, when they heard this story of what had happened, were just like, if we come across that cunt, he's got it, he's having it, bastard. Because I think this guy was this video that one of the other soldiers with him had filmed him doing what he did, and it just went viral. So I don't feel sorry for the guy. I hope when he got back, doesn't matter whether he was a soldier and he was putting his life on the line, what he did was disgusting. So I hope he got the shit kicked out of him when he got back to America. Nasty bastard.
Damn straight. Yeah, damn straight.
Yeah.
That is rank. I've actually, inadvertently got a horrible picture in my head, but yeah, that is disgusting. Scummy bastard.
I know. I mean, I just can't get over the whole cruelty thing. I'm not, obviously, as I said, I'm not going into any form of detail with anything, but I've never even so much as smacked my dog. He's never even had a tap off me. But the worst he had was as a puppy, and he was being a little, he'd not been taught any manners. He was taken away from his mum too early. I didn't know this when I got him. They took the bitch away from the puppies when they were 4 weeks old. So he'd not been taught any manners. There were 10 puppies that the bitch couldn't deal with, and they just took the mum away from them. So they were basically like, imagine 10 toddlers all being allowed to run riot. They're going to be quite dysfunctional, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah.
So he was a bugger. He didn't know, he didn't have an off switch. He does now. If his teeth connect with you, let's go straight away. He knows it's an accident, but he was like ragging me. He nearly tore my lip off at one point, and the only thing I did to him was I pinned him on the floor. I actually pinned him because my trainer had said, pin him, do not let him get up, tower over him as though you're another dog, and growl at him. He said, get your face right into his, but not enough so he can bite you. And growl at him. He said, you need to dominate him. And that's the only thing I ever did to him. And it, did it for a week, and that was it. But I've never smacked my dog. I've never even used, people use a whip on the horses. I've never done that. If they won't do what I want out of love, they're not going to do it at all.
Yeah.
A smack on the bum.
There's talking of dogs. There's Maggie eating the cat food. Mag.
Well, at least it's cat food and it's not cat poo.
Oh, don't. That's the only time I'll sort of have to. But even then, I wouldn't sort of be harsh with her. But yeah, I'll sort of have to grab her out of that tray.
Yeah, not
dirty
for her evening tapas.
Tapas, bro. Do you know what I mean? It's fucking so wrong, isn't it? But again, obviously, it's she's not. She obviously hasn't got up and planned to annoy humans. She's just a dog at the end of the day. So.
Oh, what's Armchair Detective enough? Oh, no. Why am I reading the whole name out? Nuff. Oh my God, them bots must be following me. Been watching that responder on. What's BBBC?
The BB, I think she accidentally put in an extra B.
Oh, right. Okay. I'm thinking, is that a channel that No, they've been in all night. Enough. Well,
yeah.
No need to apologise. We're just talking different things. I think we're going to be talking about BBC. Yeah, got you.
Yeah.
When are you going to show us more of your travels? Nuff. I'm really looking forward to seeing some more of your videos of your travels around the British Isles in your camper van. Because I loved watching the Wood Plumpton one, and the dog peeing on the on Meg's boulder. That did half make me laugh. Did you watch that one, Tez?
I don't think I've seen it now you've said that. Oh,
Oh,
I always get a notification for Nuff's lives. Will it be on there in amongst?
no, it's a video she did. It was over while she was staying over between Christmas and New Year at Goosner, and she went to Wood Plumpton where the Wood Plumpton witch is buried.
All right.
She filmed walking the dogs, and she filmed it going through going through the graveyard, and she found the witch's grave, and then one of the dogs cocked its leg on the boulder that has been put there to keep the witch in a grave in case she ever comes back to life. So I was howling.
Oh my God, you'd be dragging the dog away. Like, don't curse me.
It was really funny. Oh, I'm having to stay home. My grandbaby's due any day now. Oh, brilliant.
Oh, how exciting.
Do you know what she's having, Nuff, or is it going to be a surprise? Trying to work on the pauper grave video. Oh, brilliant. Oh, there you go. Sheila's dropped the link there. It was yeah, it was just really interesting because there's it's a lovely area of Lancashire. So yeah, it was nice. And it's quite a while since I've been to the Wood Plumpton. Oh, it's a girl. Oh, lovely.
Oh, congratulations. That's lovely. Wishing a speedy and safe delivery for Mum and Bubba. How lovely.
I put one of the girls that we were because as you know, I'm a bit of a joker. And one of my work colleagues, when she was going off to have a baby, and we had a big card that everybody was signing for her. So people are putting in, you know, oh, speedy delivery and hope everything's safe and da 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 da. And I put a little poem in, and I put, as you lie and thrutch away, I hope you have a happy day. It's like
very good.
Oh, is it going to be called Erin? Oh, what a lovely name.
Oh, Erin, that's nice as well. It's more unique, isn't it? I mean, I love the name Isla for a girl, but it's so common now. I mean, it's common as anything.
I'll tell you what else has gone common as well. Freya.
Freya, yeah, oh, that was always a really pretty name. Freya, and I had a friend of 3 girls, and 2 of them, one was Freya and one was Kaya, which I always thought were really pretty names.
Yeah. Well, I should have been called Freya. That was my dad wanted my name was going to be Freya, and because it was not a Christian name, and because it's a Norse name, you know, after the goddess. So yeah.
Excuse me, sorry.
No, my mum absolutely was having none of it, and she was like, no, and the priest won't christen her if she's not got a Christian name out in the Bible, like a saint's name. That's why I never ended up being called Freya, and I wished I had.
So they didn't even use it as a middle name.
No. I've got 3 names, and they're all saints.
Oh, hold on, Maggie just needs a wee. 1 sec.
No problem. Yeah. Oh, well, keep us posted, Nuff, when she finally arrives. That'll be lovely. Thing is, babies always decide to arrive at the most inopportune time. It'll probably be in the middle of your quiz on Friday, and and you'll get the call. She's on her way.
Oh yeah, I would be too. You just cannot beat newborn hugs. Oh,
are you being a birth partner by any chance, Nuff? Or because my friend Anne, she was her daughter's birthing partner, even though her daughter's married, but she said, I want my mum there. And it was Anne's first grandchild, so she was her daughter's birthing partner. And I said, how did it go? She went, I just cried. She said, she said, it was just pure joy. She said, I just cried all the way through. She said, holding a hand and crying. She said it was such a beautiful experience. So bless her.
That is sweet. Like completion, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? I think Seffi's awake. Hang on.
Is he having a little boy fit? Oh, you're babysitting, are you, Nuff? Oh, lovely. Oh, can't wait. It's about time. We need some good news, don't we?
Shout if you want medicine.
Births are always the thing. So, well, I'm not sure. Oh, hang on a minute. Sorry, Sheila's just put something in. I was just about to say something, but I will check the comments. Oh.
Right, this guys, if I'm going to duck out. Little Seffi's woken up. I reckon where he's not had any pain meds today. That's aching a little bit now. So
No problem. Thanks so much for that earlier, Danny. I really appreciate
no,
it.
thank you for inviting me up. And obviously, I'm so sorry I had to postpone from last week. We just had so much going on. But it's been wonderful as always. I've really enjoyed it. So thank you, Kiss, and thank you everyone in chat.
No, thanks a lot, lovey. Give him a little hug from all of us, and I'll probably not
will do.
Myself anyway because I'm going to have an earlier night.
All right, sweet. All right, well, big hugs. Thank you again. All right, and I'll talk to you soon, my darling.
Absolutely. You take care. Bye.
Angie, bye-bye. Bye, guys.
Oh, I love having Denny up. She's always such good fun. Right, let me just have a check on the chat, Sheila. Yep, that happened to me when I wanted my daughter christened. It wasn't a name they were happy with at Catholic Church. We had to baptise a Protestant instead. Oh, that wasn't an option for my family. But yeah, I mean, I even thought, shall I just change my name? I'll just change my name and have Freya. I should have had that in the first place. But it was spelt the old way. It was Freyja. That's how it would have been spelled. So, yeah, I was gutted I didn't get that one. So, well, guys and gals, I'm not sure when I'll be on next. Maybe tomorrow, I don't know. Maybe Thursday, I don't know. If I come on Thursday though, because I'm going to be at Porky's, so I might be on. If I do, it'd literally only be for a couple of hours if he's doing his thing. But otherwise, we'll come on Friday because it's the live-a-thon, isn't it? So I don't know if I don't get on beforehand. I don't know if you guys fancy leaving. You know, we were going to do the mod, like the Know Your Mods thing. Do you want to leave that till Saturday or something so we're not detracting from Salty's live-a-thon? Because I know I said initially I would come on Friday, but as that's going on now, so I don't know if you want me to save that till the weekend. But I will definitely have a look. I think the consensus seemed to be possibly looking at Vlad Tepes, Vlad the Impaler. So I'm happy if I do that next rather than Boudica, or I can do Boudica and the Missing Ninth. I might just throw a coin and see which side it lands on, and then you get what you're given. But I've just always been fascinated with the Ninth Legion going missing. So, but that might be one for more of a weekend chat, I think, maybe. So yeah. Hope you haven't scuppered your plans. Friday seems to be. Oh no, not at all. Not at all. Nuff. No, I just oh, there it is again. Thank you. Thank you, Sheila. I knocked it off and then I couldn't find the original one. No, not at all. I was only throwing things around. I should have done a quiz on Friday and didn't end up doing it. And I can do it I can do it anytime. You know, I'm just going to make sure that I won't do anything on Friday because all this is going on for Salty. So for anybody, if anybody else has come in, because we seem to have been varying from 20 odd down to around like 13, 14 tonight. So in who are watching. So for anybody who's come in and missed it, we had this up earlier, the link that's up on the screen. It's for Salty. There is going to be a live-a-thon on for her on Friday, so UK time. It's 9 o'clock. Is it enough? And there's going to be all sorts of things going on there. For anybody who doesn't know, Salty, pardon the pun, is absolute salt of the earth. Puts herself out for everybody. She's got a great channel, really funny. She's done marathon lives that you know, I couldn't even attempt to do it, you know, 24 hours at a time. So, Nuff just said there, yes, they're going live at 9 o'clock UK time. So, yeah, she's having a really, really hard time at the moment. And just because of the good friend she's been to so many people on here, and how quick she is to jump on other bandwagons for other people to raise money and you know, raise awareness of different things. She's been a very good friend to a lot of people. So, you know, karma and all that jazz, it's time that something good comes her way. So if anyone can spare a little bit of anything, that's the PayPal there. And if you can go along and join in on Friday. So Nuff Nuff, who's in here, most of you'll know who Nuff Nuff is, but she's going to be doing a quiz, and then Bam's going to be doing a crime chat, and there'll be other things going on. So yeah, all the support that you can give would be really appreciated. Salty uploaded something on her own channel a few days ago. I didn't know about it until, because I've not been getting notifications, so I didn't even know this was going on until Bedtime Clown told me. He was up on panel, and I went along and listened, and it's absolutely heartbreaking. So she's a genuine girl, really nice, kind person, says it how it is, and yeah, any help would be much appreciated. Oh, there we go, selling inches. And again, because we've got quite a few new subs from America, Nuff Nuff runs Nobbington Manor, and there's a quiz, and Nobbington Manor quiz, you get knob inches if you win. And if you don't know what a knob is, it's our word for a dick. So for every question you get right and you win that question, you get an inch. I have got a clitoris rather than a dick, because I've never been quick enough to win anything. So yeah, I'm a flat dick. But as she's just said there, she will be selling inches. So if only life was that simple. Yeah, as Nuff Nuff said, 100% genuine, really, really decent person. So yeah, it's about time the decent people in this world actually get something back. So yeah, any support, that would be great. I'll stop banging the drum now. Oh yeah, brilliant. Thank you, Sheila. There's a link there in the chat that is to Nuff Nuff's channel. So please give her a follow. She has a great channel. She's got one of the most infectious laughs on the planet. So so yeah, please give her a channel as well. I don't really know much about Salty, but I will contribute something. Life is that I don't get that bit. Life is that simple for you. Let me just see. Don't really know much about Salty, but will contribute. Yeah, Frida, she's really good, and if you've ever been on her live, she's absolutely hilarious. She can give a serve of the gob like nobody I've ever heard. Oh, he's on about inches. Buying inches, you just said if only life was that simple. I buy your inches, love, with a sweet smile and a bit of tiger bread homemade. I think I've got it all. Do you know, I'm enough. I do this all the time. I lose myself in the chat and then I forget what I've said, which I'm always being pulled up on. So. And I think you've probably missed it enough, but Pork Chop is the Mr. Sexy tiger bread and dippy cheese. I make good tiger bread, Jen. I've been sharing recipes. I sent something over to Green Eyes earlier. I was giving her the recipe for the rice paste to put on top of it, because she's making these wonder breads, like wonderfully easy bread. So I've sent her the recipe of how to make the rice paste to make the tiger bread. But I said if it doesn't taste the same, because my tiger bread recipe is slightly different because I put sugar in it. So I said I'll send that over to her. But yeah, it got the thumbs up when I made the tiger bread. So It can't be that bad. Camembert. I'm not a lover of that, Frida. Oh, here we're going into food. You do know what's going to happen, don't you? Oh, thanks, babe. There you go. I lie not. My tiger bread isn't good. It's amazing. No problem, Green Eyes. I just hope it works out all right. But I will admit he pulls no punches, just pork chops. So if he doesn't, if there's something he doesn't like, he will say, I don't like it. So I'll take that compliment and run with it. Oh, I told you, Green Eyes, didn't I? Sent that cheese and onion recipe over. I didn't get the lasagna recipe yet from Pork Chop, but I'll get that on. I'll get that probably on Thursday or something. No, I don't like stinker cheese either, Sheila. That stew, for example, was awful. Oh, right. I've got to tell you guys what I did. So, yeah, but the second stew was nice, wasn't it? You know, you had the same thing that went in the beef pie. The minced beef pie. What I'd done, I found a tip on a cookery channel, and it was saying that, you know, when you're frying off your mince before you put it in a stew or whatever you're doing with it, and this hint and this tip, oh, hang on, what's this? I get it off BAM. Anyone interested? Can you please email your recipes to BAM? Thank you. Yeah, I did mine this morning. But yeah, so I looked on, I was watching this channel and it was giving hints on how to stop your minced beef from shrinking, you know, when you're browning it off before you put it in your stew. So basically it said that when you put it in the hot fat, you sprinkle it with bicarbonate of soda. Sprinkle it all over, and that stops the meat from shrinking and it retains the moisture. So I went, wow, I've never heard of this. I'll give it a try. And I put it all over the mince, as it said, and I cooked it, and I made my stew, and it went on the hob. And then Porky rocked up for his tea, and bless him, he did his best. It tasted fucking rank. And I could see his face, and he didn't insult me. Now he can admit it, because I did say, you know, tell me it was fucking disgusting, wasn't it? And he was like, yeah. So don't ever be tempted to try this little hack of sprinkling bicarbonate of soda on fucking mince to stop it from shrinking, because it will make your stew taste like dog shit. In fact, Cooper, who will eat a scabby turd, I think wouldn't have even touched that stew. It was awful. So yeah, I don't know who came up with that hint and that hack, but yeah, it's vile. Don't be tempted. So yeah, as you can see, my stew was awful, but my tiger bread is ace. So I'm thinking I'm gonna, unless there's anything anybody wants to chit chat about, yeah, definitely give it a miss. Enough, because it was bloody awful. What do you mean, Sheila? Like mushy peas? Is that what you do? You put bicarb on mushy peas? At least you wouldn't have got indigestion with the bicarb. Oh, the thing is, Frida, I can't tell you how bad it was, because I took a mouthful of it, and I'm thinking, oh Jesus, God, he's come round here for a meal, and this tastes absolutely rancid, and he's just not going to like eating my food anymore. Because I am a pretty good cook. All right, well, yeah, don't put it on mince. I've never heard of that about putting it on mushy peas, but please do not ever put it on mince. I wouldn't mind. I'd got some expensive. It was like Aberdeen Angus mince, and you know, it was the stuff that I wouldn't have normally bought because I was trying to make an effort, and it absolutely ruined it. I put tip of a teaspoon in cabbage, keeps the colour and takes less time to cook. Yeah, if you steep them yourself, but I don't like them. Right, okay. Oh, I like mushy peas. Mushy peas with fish and chips. Yeah, it's no, just stick to cooking mince the traditional way. Just don't put bicarb on it. I genuinely thought he would never eat anything I cooked ever again. It was so bad. Yeah, if you put it in dried pulses, it cooks quicker. Years ago, pulses always came with a bicarb tablet. Oh, I remember that. I remember that, Green Eyes, because when my nan used to make pea and ham shank soup, and she used to get a packet of dried peas, and they always had that little, like a puck in it, didn't it, wrapped up in paper. I mean, I'll be honest, the only thing I use dried peas for now is when I'm making pastry, you know, to blind bake them. I put them in the bottom of the pie base and cook it off. Garden peas with a knob of butter. Funny that, Frida. Do you know what? I'd totally forgotten about that as well till Green Eyes just mentioned it. Do you know, we're talking about all these different topics to discuss in here. And we need to do one just with recipes one night, don't we? Talk about food. Everybody come in meals of the week and say what we've cooked and share a recipe or two. Has everybody sent over recipes for Bam's book? Just incidentally. Like I said, I sent mine over this morning. I think it was this morning. Was it yesterday? I'm losing track of the days now. With cheese and onion pie. I would have sent something else, but then I thought, well, no, because a lot of people, there's so many people who are vegetarians, and everybody likes cheese and onion pie, don't they? I love talking about food as well, Frida. I like eating it as well. I just like finding out the, you know, different things that people enjoy making, and I'll have to swap recipe with you sometime for your steak and Guinness pie. Because I did ask about which pie he wanted me to make next, because I was thinking, oh, he might want the steak and Stilton one, or the mince beef and onion one, or he might want another cheese and onion one, but he actually wants another vindaloo pie. He enjoyed that one. Yeah, I like cheese pie. The one I make, though, enough, it takes ages because you've got to cook the onions right. You put tons of onions in them, but you cook it right down so it goes very soft and caramelized like an onion puree. Oh, it's just so nice, but it just takes a long time. It's not a quick meal for tea. It takes quite a bit to make. Not had any yet apart from you, I don't think. Send as many as you like, more the merrier. Oh, well, I've got other ones. It was just trying to think, you know, because there's so many people who are vegan or vegetarian now. And that's why I just sent the cheese and onion pie. But, I mean, I do have other ones. Yeah, it's really nice, Nuff. It is really nice. I vary away from the recipe sometimes. I'll put because I'll put different types of cheese in, and sometimes I'll put more cheese in and more cream in the filling than it usually calls for. And sometimes I'll put like a teaspoon of English mustard in because that brings out the flavour of the cheese. Sometimes I'll do it in puff pastry. Sometimes I'll do it in hot watercrust pastry. Just depends how I'm feeling. What's this about Bam's book? I must admit, I'd missed it as well, Sheila. Yeah, absolutely, Nuff. I tell you what, Nuff, drop me. Oh, hang on. I'll just see if I can. Right, no problem. Got that. All right, Sheila. Well, I was just going to say, I'm just about to. I'll sort that out for you, Nuff. I was just about to say, I'm going to call this to a close now because I am knackered and I really need an early night, and I've managed to do this in 3.5 hours. So, and then you can all nip over and say hello to Bam, and I shall catch you all in a day or two, but if not before, I'll see you all for the live-a-thon on Friday. So, thank you everybody for coming in again. Really lovely to see you all. Yeah, you too, Nuff. Thanks so much for coming in. Definitely see you Friday. I want knob inches. Thank you very much. I want to be like John Holmes and swinging it round like a shillelagh. So thank you, Green Eyes, and Sheila and Frida, and I will, and everybody else who's listening. I've forgotten who else is in chat. And yeah, I will catch you all in a couple of days. So I shall close like I always do. You take care, everybody, and I'll probably nip over and just say hello, and then I'm going to nip to bed. All right, then. Thank you, everybody. Take care, and see you all on the bright side.